drop a game into playoffs. How smooth sailing will it be to the end? Let's find out here in Game 1.
13-0 Vodable. Team Heretics' current map score in Ignite 2026. They are yet to even stumble, let alone fall. But Shikigami have dreams of making sure that Team Heretics fall down the biggest pitfall traps that are available here on Hell's Heaven.
That's the biggest question. Will this be the team to do it? I mean, we were thinking the same for Na'Vi versus VP last time, and unfortunately, or Na'Vi versus Peps, excuse me, last time with VP in the equation there. Who would be the first to take the map against them? Well, we'll have to see later on for that one specifically. The Elsa is secured for Shikigami. They're not worried about Layla's, I guess.
Yep, not too worried about it. Instead, everyone just prioritizing the Gambit for now. And Team Heretics, they're not going to go for the Elsa themselves, preferring to potentially put Naga on the Mantis here. But as Lemon brought up in our pre-show, like, Naga's a very, very strong aimer, meaning that he scales really well to strategists like the Mantis and like the Luna.
Really curious what the focus is going to be now for Team Heretics specifically. We have seen a lot of Invisible Woman bans across the board. The stocks for that ban have improved so much, especially because how much she's able to shut down that dive specifically. And that's exactly what Heretics love to play. But they're going for the full team-up potential here with the Loki as well. I like to see this from Heretics.
Is this going to force something like a group ban from Shikigami, or could it be a bait? We know that there are some excellent Loki players just in general. Oasis, fantastic Loki player. Weirdly, Oasis hasn't had to play that much Loki previously, so previously twinned with Winnie, who was a great Jeff and Loki player, and Oasis finally being able to strut a little bit more of their hero pool here in the big 2-6. Removing the Vanguard Deadpool, though, this is probably going to force Enzo over towards that Hulk without it being available.
That's what we saw be part of the reason why that Team Heretics was able to get that win last time, right? Was because of that Hulk. Of course, they're going to be making sure that there is no worry for their Vanguard line, getting rid of the Wolverine specifically. Unfortunately, they saw a Canadian was casting and they said you can't cast him yet.
You don't get to take part in that one. Enzo, yeah, this one makes sense, going over to a Venom to try and give over that Symbiotic Shenanigans team up to Oasis. Oasis has probably been the standout Jeff so far in 2026. Obviously, of course, over the entire history of the EMEA, it's usually been Fate from Na'Vi, who's been the player we look to as the preeminent Jeff. But Oasis really is innovating at the moment with the breadth of off angles that they take, the most annoying positions possible.
I'm liking this change-up from Naga specifically if they're opting to go for this Atom play. We saw a little bit of it during the preseason group stage. Oasis did actually opt for the Mantis in that triple strategist composition, and it worked out well for them, and maybe a bit of a circumvention of what Shikigami would expect going into this specific map, especially the last time they faced. Didn't quite go as well as they would have liked, and a little easier because they had the Gambit available to them the first time, so bit of a change-up might be something that Shikigami are not prepared for.
Well, Shikigami have all the tools they need, at least, with both the Elsa and the Vanguard Deadpool in their stable, but they're going to be going up against a team that has a lot of staying power for Triple Strategist.
Speaking of that staying power, Team Heretics, they want to stay on top of the world, make sure they don't drop a single map, and Shikigami, they'll potentially be the closest to do it if they can keep up their streak from yesterday. Looks like they had all the fire behind them with Laylis leading the charge, but Isidore already going down.
Oh, Alex really showing off all of his stuff thus far. It used to be Ken who was always over on the Loki, but showing off that, there's just so much breadth in this hero pool. All it took was 2 picks onto a pair of Vanguards, and the rest of Shikigami scatter to the winds.
Seemed like a bit of an overextension from the Vanguard players. Shikigami trying to sniff out the composition from Heretics and see exactly what their attack angle would be, but unfortunately did not work out well enough. They backed off and retreated with the rest of their team, but could not escape in time.
Okay, Frost Mountains pivot here onto the Winter Soldier. Certainly interesting. This might shut down Enzo very well, as of course the immobilizing effect of a Trooper's Fist can stop any real disengage from a Venom for a couple of seconds longer. Tanuki's just taxing their approach though. They're so tightly grouped up. Those sparks are accruing, and every single explosion gives another one over to all of the neighbors of the afflicted individuals.
I'm liking this flank around from Shikigami, trying to get the high ground and position themselves a little bit better for the retake. The problem that they have to worry about, though, is Enzo on the Venom. He can be unleashed at a moment's notice. Doesn't have the ultimate yet, but still is a nuisance.
Oh, doesn't even know where that Venom went. Enzo was out of there so quickly. The softest of dives, but it did force out the Bardic Hook. That's exactly what you want to see. I believe a Banhammer given over by Kaya onto a back line. Ready to slam on down. You need to get rid of those regeneration domains. It's already been done. The Sparks detonate and Tanuki claims 2. Well, Enzo is going to be a flesh sacrifice in the back. It seems that Null has had his way, and Team Heretic stay in control.
Lemon asked us earlier if Team Heretic seeing Shikigami on the other side instead of Rad would have been a bit of more of a worry for them, and you can see that it's just business as usual for this team. They are a known quantity. They've played against them before, know the compositions that they go for, and have the most footage against them in their group. So business at the office as usual for Team Heretics. Oasis also just feeling good having these team-ups available to them.
Okay, quick swap over. Little do-si-do when it comes to the Vanguard Deadpool. Isidor's going to be the one to pick that up now. It's going to be Kai moving over onto the Venom instead. Beetle handing out those heals, courtesy of a Vibrant Vitality. Tanuki around the back. There's so many sparks, and he's just carving through the members of Shikigami. Even with the Eternal Bond, there wasn't enough healing to keep Frost Mountain up, so that Kraken's Impact's not going to be available for this one, and a nice heal coming through from Alex off the back of that copied Eternal Bond. Moving forward now, Tanuki feeling lots of pressure as they move in on towards that strangling prison. Tanuki caught inside Oasis is going to be potentially taken down here by the Banhammer. Will they be able to chew out all of these members inside? I think a quick dark teleportation there is going to save multiple members of Shikigami. Name back on terra firma, and Enzo's just going to try their best to shut down the remainder of these. Still, this is where the Elsa's at her best. Full Hunter's Instinct.
Not the best ultimate that we could have seen from Oasis, but I feel like they're more used to, at this rate, using it for positioning and healing the divers than necessarily going for the big eats. And you can see why maybe not as prepared as they could have been for it. Shikigami, a great retake, but they have a lot of room to make up. I feel like this Feast of the Abyss from Kaya needs to be a set piece if they want to shut down Heretic's approach.
Yeah, how can you amplify this is the question. Beetle's just claiming all of his power. Down goes the Ironwood Wall. Immune to CC. Frost Mountain down again, unfortunately, and Kai's afflicted so many with the anti-heal. Leila's going to be the primary victim there as they were caught in the midst of Team Heretics, who almost have flipped the point again. A Spore Bomb towards Lindstrom. The God of Mischief can't stand up to the power of plants itself. Weak to grass types, apparently. I didn't see that one coming, and that's going to be a quick slapping down onto the opposing Venom. Enzo is feeling like a king in his throne over this point. Is going to be a recontest coming through from Frost Mountain, courtesy of that pentagram of Farala. A portal opening up Frost Mountain. Seems like they're not going to actually commit to this one.
They're rather save their resources for the frozen airfield at this rate. They knew the retake wasn't going to work out as well, and they have to go back to the drawing board in terms of composition against Team Heretics. Enzo on the Venom, especially on the Eldritch Monument, seemed to be a massive deterrent to any engagement that we were seeing from Shikigami. And now we've seen a couple of swaps here and there across the board for Shikigami. Kaya pulling out the Venom, as I was talking about earlier. The Vanguard Deadpool more for Isidor's. We've seen them use it a couple times as well. And still, Layla sticking, of course, on the Elsa, but we heard from the interview yesterday that they're not too worried. Beetle specifically mentioning that, hey, if someone gets Elsa, we can just shut down what enables her, and we can still play our game, and that's been proof in the pudding so far in this first map point.
Naga, being the lowest towards their ultimate charge right now, has opted to swap away from the Mantis, likely for an early engagement here. Maybe knowing that with Frost Mountain likely having channeled that teleport earlier, but there's going to be no counter TP coming through. Team Heretics will go for an early engage.
I like this early engagement style for them too. Heretics know that it's their domain to be in charge of this competition, but they have to worry about potential if the dive does escape here. The portal play didn't quite work as they wanted, but great positioning to set up to get onto the point.
Already forced out the greens from Lindstrom, though, and without that regeneration domain, it's a huge advantage. Look at that damage boost that's going onto everyone as well, courtesy of a Vibrant Vitality. Not much to do here if you're Venom. Kai can just stand on point and try and stop the cap, but this engagement needs to come through. And now it's down to Alex, having copied over the Soul Resurgence to move everyone forward. Still for Shikigami, it isn't too long a fight, so you're glad to at least get Alex Soul out.
This is the problem with playing Venom, I feel, on this sub-map specifically. The Frozen Airfield, very contained in terms of these rooms that you have to brawl against your opponents, and it's not as easy to dive in and dive out as you saw with the Eldritch Monument. So maybe a different option might be better for Kaya, but they have a couple ultimates online. We'll see how they can use them to their effectiveness and hope that'll be enough to win this team fight.
Enzo moves in. Seems like not too much was gained off the back of that Feast of the Abyss, and Leola's going to try and shut them down on the disengagement. Monster Piercer after Monster Piercer, but that's going to be a big drag in there. Multiple members faced with the danger of the group. Alex has just been taken out by the Banhammer on the other side, and now Oasis has to do all of the healing by themselves with the Soul Resurgence. Team Heretics are now on a timer, but they have backup if they need it in the form of Tanuki's ultimate. The Song Inferno so close. Oasis gone down to the dive here, courtesy of both the Daredevil and the Venom. And while sparks may be spread out by Tanuki's ultimate, there's no frags to be found. And while you do have to carve through the forest that's been erected here by Beetle, the remainder of Team Heretics are nowhere to be seen, and Shikigami should be able to flip after they get rid of this Venom.
Venom just being a thorn in their side, or a tendril in their side, I guess you could say it that right. Making it so that they get as much percentage as possible, only at 66% though. A little bit of a better performance from Shikigami in at the retake, and I like these swaps. Frost Mountain on the Daredevil has the vision and can know when Team Heretics are gonna go. The problem lies in their sustain here specifically. Name doesn't have their ultimate available. Lindstrom does have the copy though, so that's gonna have to be perfectly timed for this next team fight.
Eternal Bond potentially ready to go. That is a massive terror cape. Multiple members of Team Heretics are going to be in danger, but they're not really going to push up onto it. Instead, just enjoying the space that they've already purchased with Beetle's walls. And now it's going to be Beetle setting feet upon the point. Needs to be challenged. It's going to be Kaya in towards the back, and Frost Mountain's moving with him. Unable to yet challenge too much as Kaya's already fallen on down. Lindstrom knows that they need to try and use their copy. Going to be the Eternal Bond rolling through. Everyone needs to get inside of the nice purple that's been left behind by Lindstrom, and Team Heretics, for now, but it's not really necessary to fight. Instead, Alex prepares for Doppelganger. Soul Resurgence gives everyone movement speed, heading towards the backline. Leolas is public enemy number one. That big target that needs to be dealt with. Multiple players grabbed into one position by Beetle off the back of the strangling prison, and with both of the strategists down, it seems like this one might be curtains for Shikigami. All they can do is trade their life force for point percentage.
Tried to use the Banhammer just to stay on the objective as long as possible, and they technically get the edge here, but it felt like Heretics won the war for now. They have the ultimate advantage going into this next team fight. Shikigami had to use a lot of their resources, and I feel like Kaya going down so early really led to their demise later on in that team fight. Weren't not able to have the sustain, couldn't distract the strategists on the back line, and they got their ultimates off perfectly, especially with the Soul Resurgence we saw from Alex.
Kaya almost ready to go with the Feast of the Abyss, but look at Team Heretics. Oh my goodness, they're loaded for bear. The armory is full. Enzo isn't really going to go anywhere. Feast of the Abyss towards the back. Nice timing on the regeneration domain there by Lindstrom. Is there going to be enough punishment though? Well, Enzo was left vulnerable. He will be able to get out thanks to the extra health given over, and Kaya's got no such luck. Constantly bashed away by Oasis, and now everyone turns upon the Cloak and Dagger, trying to burn them through the healing of the Eternal Bond. To the sky comes the Glassrocks, but they're not going to be grabbing anybody. The focus fire from Team Heretics is just too strong right now. Isidore looks towards the villains on the side of Team Heretics, and they take down the group, but not much more than that. Tanuki will be joining the body pile for now, and Leolas looks towards these vanguards, burning through them with both shotgun and monster piercer alike.
Generation Domain getting procced there and really did help keep them on the objective, turned the tides for Shikigami. So many ultimates used by Heretics to get at least to that overtime percentage, but will it prove to be enough? Shikigami have a couple of their ults building up, and Lindstrom almost has that copy available.
Moving in towards the back, another big dive. Naga and Alex are already down. What perfect timing from Shikigami. Oasis for next to go on down, and there's no escape from Matthew Murdoch. Sublime from Shikigami.
Beautiful work being put in by Frost Mountain. Has the read, especially having the wall hacks, as we like to call them. But here comes the portal blade. The next engage goes through.
Rolling through into the regeneration domain. Plenty of safety here for Naga to try and play with his Tanuki's moved over onto the Wolverine to just try and keep Kaya at bay, or make sure that Frost Mountain does not feel comfortable playing around the back. They might wait for the portal to go away so there's no safe disengagement available, but the counterplay onto Frost Mountain is perfectly done. Lindstrom now has access to the massive healing. Eternal Bond coming through from both sides, but still Kaya goes, oh no! Oh, they're managing to drag them all back here through the Glassrocks. Multiple frags. Leolas once again shouting their name from the rooftops. Shikigami is Shikigaming at the moment. Look at Lindstrom's angle. Tanuki has to get on top of them. A massive feral leap. Might have to be a swap from Lindstrom, but he isn't there in time. The adamantine claws burn through them. Naga's taken down by a terror cape as Name decides to get involved. A counterplay off the back of the Eternal Bond means Team Heretics have plenty of staying power here, but Shikigami will be able to soon teleport in their own means. towards the back. Tanuki takes down Name. Just strategist after strategist falling to the claws of Tanuki. But can they get towards the point? The remainder of Team Heretics have to move on for now. Leolaz cuts them down one by one. The Monster Hunters found their mark. They're going to claim the bounty. Beetle falling super low, and Tanuki can't last long either. It's just going to be Enzo standing alone against the world. The gargantuan Frenchman, the Colossus, will fall. Team Heretics find themselves equalized against.
Not necessarily a C9, but did push them off the objective, forced them to disengage, and got the point victory. This is the bounce back we need to witness from Shikigami, and I did like the late change into the Wolverine for Tanuki. It just seemed a little bit too late towards the end. Might be the strategy here, though, to deal with Isidore. They were multiple times during that last team fight one-hit wonders that they could have gone down, and nobody was cashing out on the album there. So Kaya staying up a lot better as well in these team fights, not going down first, not engaging as early as we used to see. And I like the positioning from Leolaz, playing with their strategists, kiting the point exactly where they need to be, and dealing chip damage as they go around with their elephant gun. This is the Shikigami we saw yesterday. It just took them a bit to wake up.
All right, Tanuki getting that early jump pack from the Rockets Battle Recall Beacon will be a tricky customer when it comes to grabbing one of these Vanguards early on.
I like the change for Naga here as well, onto more of the dive, the anti-dive specific change here for the White Fox. They have the charm available to them. There's the exile as well from Enzo. This might be a kidnap option.
Doesn't actually end up using the jump pack there. Tanuki knew that it wasn't going to be a fully managed one. Oh, what a fastball there. Directly on to the Deadpool, but good regeneration domain. That's a really big utility. It's not going to be available now, but Name has plenty of it as well. Moving in with the Eternal Bond, doing their best to avoid getting grabbed out of their own AoE. It's going to be Shikigami with some great positioning on the point off the back of what they've invested. Frost Mountain just doing their best to roll forward with the Terror Cape. The vulnerability is given over, plenty of damage, and Frost Mountain is more than happy to beat them down with the Billy Clubs after what was set up by the Cloak and Dagger. What a play by Name.
Beautiful work by everyone on this team. And Name, you mentioned specifically because the Cloak and Dagger seems to be a massive difference maker here. They have the Terror Case, but they also have the extra damage that they're able to do. As soon as people engage, they can cloak their team up in case some of these ultimates come through from Heretics. Synergy is what the way you would describe Shikigami's play so far.
Midway through the bunny hop, the disrespect of it, Enzo. I can't believe it. Almost ready to go World Breaker mode here with the Monster Hulk feeling angry towards the back. Kai gonna let loose with those corrosive tendrils. Multiple players caught within the Glartrox. Great value coming out of a singular ultimate here from Shikigami. And this is the kind of economy they need. Actually sent in the Deadpool as well. But Leolaz's Monster Piercer is getting it done.
Oasis even respecting the Cloak and Dagger pick here too, swapping over to it and hoping that they'll be able to find some windfall with it, but unfortunately not enough. Shikigami just have a full hold on at this point, know where the potential routes will come because of the Daredevil play of Frost Mountain, but it now comes down to how they use their ultimates in this team fight.
All right, moving on to a point here with the Indestructible Guard once again towards the back. The Devil's been let out. A nice double potentially from Tanuki, but no, Lindstrom manages to strike on back. Does not have a co-strategist to try and copy at this point, though, and so can't escape the attentions of Enzo. Unwilling to invest the ultimate just yet, Team Heretics. They are going to be able to stay on the point as a group due to Alex's Eternal Bond copied over from Oasis. And while it is going to be a flip here for Team Heretics, Shikigami have quite a bit of time.
Cloaky, I think that's what we're calling it. You can see exactly why it's so lethal and why also earlier yesterday we saw double Cloak and Dagger bans. This is the tech that these teams have figured out in the weeks between the group stage into the playoffs. We didn't see much of Cloak and Dagger at all in that first stage of the competition for the group stage. Now going into this, it seems to be the massive difference maker. Long ultimates, the Terror Capes with the blinds, and also just being able to shield your team cannot be understated.
Peter wants to claim the initiative here. An early Strangling Prison could do just that. Kaya took so much damage, has to use for Symbiotic Resilience in order to get out of there for now. Do they want to double down with the Feast of the Abyss? You can see the healing debuffs been given over to multiple people, but Oasis is giving over so much healing here with the Eternal Bond. And now as everyone wants to gather inside the Eternal Bond, Enzo's making sure there's no nice space for them. A massive play off the back of the Groot ultimate. Lindstrom and Name are down. Shikigami find himself with zero healing to play with. But Isidore's trading on the other side. This would be a crazy turnaround here from Shikigami if only they can manage it. Leolaz still has access to the Apex Predator, but Isidore knows that a long fight is in their favor here.
Isidore, I'm loving these dive in, dive out engagements from them, but they need more from the rest of their team if they want to convert with it. And this is a great look for them on the point. They just need the pick, and that's exactly where it comes through.
All right, early start onto Beetle. Shikigami almost in control. Barely moving. That means that Naga's going to be the one to slip through the cracks instead. Finally, the vulnerability comes on through, and while Tanuki will punish Kaya for such a deep dive, they need to do even more than this, heading in towards the epicenter with the big plays. But it's... Oh, Frost Mountain on the other side, letting the devil out. Team Heretics surround him. They're trying to say, put the devil back in, but Frost Mountain, he's frosted over. He's made sure that there's nowhere to go. Shikigami needs to madly now scramble to defend. As Pentagram of Ferrara has opened up on the point. Alex is moving forward with the Eternal Bond, so there's staying power here. Plenty of healing to try and play with, but guess what? Second cast comes from Name. This is going to last longer. Already, Alex has to disengage with a duplicitous exchange, and it's just about a little bit of stability here for Team Heretics. Oasis still has access to their ultimate, is waiting for the right moment to move on forward, hoping they can get one over onto Shikigami. Enzo claims for space. Team Heretics claim the point as well. Now it's Shikigami who have to try and play the time as Isidore makes a play for the health bag. Is going to be intercepted on their escape. Can they be found though? Enzo needs to try and pick this one up, and that's a critical frag.
Massive stagger, but here's the Feast of the Abyss coming in as well.
Feast of the Abyss grabs Alex. That's a huge pickup. Can they give a second? Oh, Kang gets them both and gets out. Unbelievable stuff from the big Swede right now. Enzo has to try and build up towards this one, but they're not going to get a chance to open the eye like a most of their eyes are sewn shut by Leolaz. What a play off the back of the Elsa Bloodstone. All Naga can do is try and fly gracefully towards the point with the Ensong Inferno, and while they do have the moves for Tokyo Drift, they don't have the moves to claim Hell's Heaven. Shikigami take the map.
The first time Heretics have bled is to Shikigami, the team that they swept in the group stages. This team has been unlocked. They've been cooking in the kitchen, ready for a meal, and a feast is what they have. The Abyss is their oyster. They have been able to serve up cold against the competition. And unfortunately, they don't really like what they are taking a bite out of in this series. Team Heretics maybe got some food poisoning from that one. They'll have to go back to the basics if they want to come out on top in the second matchup here. Shikigami, though, I mean, the biggest plays, the biggest changes, I would have to say here, like Kaya. Kaya really improved across points throughout this Hell's Heaven. We saw the massive pick on it to the Oasis Cloak and Dagger to enable them to re-engage in that last team fight. Isidore with the Vanguard pool play, I was just touting how good Kaya was playing on that yesterday. The flexibility that we've witnessed from Shikigami is on another level compared to the group stages.
Yeah, Shikigami are a different beast, and honestly, with the amount of raw damage that's coming out of Leolaz, you might want to think twice about allowing him access to this Elsa once again. Isidore as well. What a game from Isidore. Just playing so well on the Vanguard Deadpool, doing a bunch of damage, also getting good TPs on the Strange 2, 13 final hits. Actually fragging out there, looking like a duelist.
Beautiful performance across the board from Shikigami. No notes. I mean, they took everything that they needed to change to heart after that first point, which seemed like a different team was playing almost like that, but they locked in. They figured out, hey, we have Daredevil available. We have the two best duelists in the game. Why are we not playing this? And well, you can see why it works out so well. And Heretics have learned that they cannot allow both of those to be available. The Loki worked out so well too. The Cloak and Dagger from Name. Everyone on this team did their role, and that's why they were able to come out with the map win. But it's only a single map. It's only domination. A lot of teams here, like they say, that domination doesn't matter as much as the long run with Convoy and Convergence.
Yeah, there's still the chance for Team Heretics to choose their own map, but they have just lost their first map of 2026. What happens when Team Heretics' souls are filled with vengeance and they get to pick our battlefield? You can find out after this break.
Watch out, they're headed our way! Don't mess with the amazing Spider-Man! battle! 1,000 gods!
Wow, we already have an upset. I can't believe it. Heretics dropped their first game. Shikigami just might be the king killers. I don't know what it's about, but sometimes the setup, the stage gets set in the pick bans like day. Lindstrom on the Loki. They opted for the Wolverine ban instead of the Loki. Heretics were all about, we gotta stop with setting up the Elsa for success, and then the Loki gets through.
Yeah, the Wolverine ban, of course, coming through to try and give some safety over to Beetle on the Groot and Enzo on the Venom, knowing that these large health pools are easily decimated by the Wolverine. But it does mean, like you said, that the Loki gets through. Lindstrom's a very proficient Loki, and it also means you can set up very well with a two-strategist composition, because once you've got the Cloaky double Eternal Bond, there's a reason it's getting nerfed in the next patch down to 11 seconds from 13. It's so much healing and so much sustain, and it allows for you to take Frost Mountain on these flanks with the Daredevil, which is one of the premier duelists right now.
It's so hard for Enzo on the Hulk to dive a Loki. Like, he's just gonna go invisible. There's 3 of them. Like, Vaudable, it was so hard to keep up with. And Isidore, I mean, he's instrumental as usual in the Vanpool.
Yeah, that was textbook play from Vanpool. You engage early, you bait out some of the cooldowns from your opponents, and then you capitalize and get out of dodge as soon as you need to. The survivability that we saw from Isidore was monumental in at least securing their second point victory on the Frozen Airfield, and then it was just a whole different ballgame from then on out. So really textbook play. If you want to watch the replays back of the esports tabs to learn how to play Vanpool, that's the matchup to watch.
And we have just not watched Heretics on Yggdrasil, I believe, and this will be their map pick. This is where all the aces up the sleeve, all these hidden comps, hidden strats. Of course, these teams know each other better from scrims, but this is Heretics' choice of map. Initial reaction.
This is a very wide open space. It's going to allow for a lot of Tanuki to flex the aim. It's also got some nice flank routes. It's not like a Psylocke if you're so inclined. I wouldn't be too surprised to see Tanuki pull that one out after what has been a pretty legendary run of a Psylocke so far. If you've dropped into the stats of which we have available in the game right now, just for preseason and for times previous, I went in and had a look at Tanuki's Psylocke stats. Across 7 matches, dropped 21k damage per 10, which is kind of crazy considering that those were matches with a significant amount of downtime because Team Heretics were wiping out the enemy teams pretty quickly in group stage, which meant there was a lot of waiting around.
Shikigami, we don't have to wait any longer. Do they have what it takes to keep pushing Heretics to this edge? Well, it's the Heretics playground chosen by them. We'll see how it shakes out. Let's go see.
All right, Team Heretics, we're yet to see them angry, Vod. But now they've finally been bruised. All that for a drop of blood.
I mean, we saw Enzo angry playing the Hulk there for a second, and it felt like they got the combos going, but it just didn't work out towards the end for them. So I'm more interested to see the compositions that come out from both these teams on this map. Neither of these teams have played Yggdrasil Path, mind you, so this is a whole different ball game between these two teams. Yes, we are in the end game for Shikigami. If they can secure this, they'll be one step away from congratulating themselves on a top 3 minimum finish, but here is the usual that comes out from Heretics. The Mantis save, they've gone through it almost every single time that they can, and now we know there's 2 players who can play it on their squad.
I mean, I'm just saying, Shikigami are 4-0 on maps where they've got Elsa thus far in the playoffs, which I believe is all of them.
That is all of them.
Team Heretics are still putting a lot of faith in this Mantis, and admittedly in week 2 it did seem like the rise of Mantis was kind of supplanting both Elsa and Gambit as one of the highest priority bans in the server. But I do like the potential of taking away a Invisible Woman here. Both teams don't want to allow for that off-angle pocket for any duelists, that, especially ones on Team Heretics who might be loaded up with those damage boosting spores.
The interesting thing here, too, is that we didn't see the Loki focus in terms of ban for Shikigami. They're like, hey, we saw you try to play it. We played it better, so we're just going to lock it in ourselves and call it a day. And go back to the basics. And I feel like Vanguard Pool, you gotta ban this. Maybe Cloak and Dagger, of course, especially with this map specifically, so good around the convoy itself. And pushing the mission vehicle is gonna be difficult if you are not able to. So locking it down, and maybe we'll see a retaliatory Cloak and Dagger ban on their side as well.
I actually really like this Cloak and Dagger ban coming through from Team Heretics. Like you said, don't need to deal with the Cloaky anymore. And you're not going to see like double Invisible Woman either. So what's your next best choice? Probably Luna?
Actually, I respect the Atom ban here. You don't want to go for the double res, the board again and again and again that we've seen in times past. And, you know, pulling out old strategies and tricks is what Heretics is kind of known for. They said in some of their interviews that they have so many different compositions that they have not showcased yet. I mean, when I talked to their coach, Line Pro, that's exactly what he was saying, to be prepared for some craziness this weekend. So they shut it down already. They maybe got some intel from some of the scrim bucks, but we'll see how it actually goes in the map itself.
All right. Let's head on into Yggdrasil Path. This is where Team Heretics are keen to even up the series. This is their own choice of map. Leila's a little bit trepidatious about rolling out a spawn for now, but when you are going to be playing potentially a lower output strategist composition, you might want the extra oomph that comes from those Ultron drones.
And Ultron relatively more of a resurgence after like the first couple of days, right, that we saw of the group stages. Then we saw so much of it afterwards because of the damage boost, so effective. And Heretics realizing, oh, they didn't use it last time, maybe they're not going to use it this time. No, it's definitely going to be coming out this go around. They want to make sure they have that extra oomph, as you were talking about, to take it down. Heretics even more so, but I feel like having the Mantis with Tanuki on this Phoenix cannot be understated. We saw how effective that has been in the past matchups too.
Extra damage for Enzo as well, who has once again gained custody of the Deadpool, as that was not taken out in the ban phase. And we've seen just what Enzo can do with those Dual Desert Eagles in hand. It's going to be Kai who's up against them here. It seems both Kai and Isidora plenty proficient when it comes to using those.
Desert Eagles did really well for the side of Shikigami last time, and I do like the change up a little bit here. Isidore focusing more on just keeping their backline sustained with the bubbles, and you can see as the engage comes out from Beetle, that's exactly what their focus is.
Okay, Isidore needs the regeneration domain to try and survive this one, so that's a major utility that's now going to be missing from the side of Shikigami. But Leolaz watching the approach of a Vanguard Deadpool. The punish is there. Enzo had a wall erected behind him, and Oasis wasn't quite on the angle in time to supplant it. Still, Alex with all of these doppelgangers able to put out a bunch of healing and damage. Kaya getting close, but seems like the Banhammer's not going to be able to secure a frag off the back of that. Just having to bunny hop away and get back to the safety of the strategist. Leolaz on the off angle can dodge away from a Loki fairly easily, as Frost Mountain is temporarily sedated by the Mantis. And can someone actually make it onto the cart here? It seems like one of the Vanguards from Shikigami has been able to do so, but Leolaz's escape is going to be hard won as they move towards the back. Little HP to try and play with. What an angle here from Tanuki. A third dimension of view is not available to Shikigami right now. They're just focused in on the cart as Lyncham and Frost Mountain fall both, and Team Heretics easily wipe out Shikigami.
Tunnel vision is the worst that you can have, especially on such a vertical map that we just saw them fall to the wayside because of it. Tanuki had the angle on them, the high ground that was necessary to secure the first objective, and now they have all the ultimates in the bank too. This is a must-win for Team Heretics in this next team fight. Have to make up for the mistakes that we saw in that domination and prove once again that they are a top dog in EMEA.
Oh, big grab coming through onto Enzo. So much CC, but they were kept close to Name. And what's Oasis doing back here? There's a Jeff in your spawn, and he's making you all wet and soggy.
Oh, not exactly what we like to see. More swaps coming out, though, from Shikigami. We saw a couple of them from Heretics. That's a good get from Frost Mountain here on the Wolverine, and exactly why it was banned in the last map. They were worried, Heretics, about it. Specifically, Layla's back on the Old Faithful, and we'll see if the damage will be enough to deal with Heretics in this next one.
Okay, Frost Mountain's approach is going to be relatively covered here. Does need to make their way past the group walls, though. With that Ironwood wall up, Beetle is still unattackable. A portal has been opened here, I believe, by Enzo, just moving to come back quickly after being picked off a touch earlier. Quick copy coming through. God of Mischief. That's going to be Alex now using the Soul Resurgence, stolen away from the Mantis. Tanuki keen to chase Kaya, who's unable to receive a healing while they're in midair. Lyncham was a touch late. The fate of both roles now going to be decided. Nothing off the back of the Glad Shrugs. Leolas was hoping for some real value out of an ultimate, but instead it's Oasis in the back, eating up multiple members. Leolas takes him down rather quickly. 4 players inside of a strangling prison. Beetle erects the walls, places them within the cage. Team Heretics have sentenced you to prison with hard labor for embarrassing them on Hell's Heaven, as Kaya is just going to do their best to go up against the hordes of Heretics which surround the point but can't stand up for long, especially with Isidore only just able to try and get involved in this fight. Everyone's just taken aside, and it seems like Naga's getting unlimited spores. This guy's just hitting headshot after headshot.
And this is why maybe Naga should be the one playing the Mantis instead of Oasis, who was opting for it in the last map, back on the usual compositions that we've seen from this team. But Alex seems to also be unleashed on this Loki. Beetle, this is the performance he was hoping to showcase in the last map on Hell's Heaven, and proving that, hey, we don't have to rely as much on the Captain America, and really using the strangling prisons and the group walls to section off the ultimates from Shikigami's backline has been a masterclass performance from Team Heretics. Shikigami, they have to have a master performance of their own if they want to bounce back at this rate.
Regeneration domain's already used. Remember that with the Mantis on the team, they also give the damage boost thanks to the Vibrant Vitality, and Kaya found that out the hardest way. Multiple stuns coming through from Enzo. Say goodbye to your backline, because Enzo's just thrown it into the ocean.
Okay, Enzo, I respect it. The Doctor Strange that does get unleashed, he does have a PhD in throwing hands and also magic at the other team, and well, they are able to do so much damage against them. And unfortunately for Shikigami here, leg day, they just have not been able to find anything that sticks. The drawing board has all these different plans for them, but none of them are working.
Moving into all these doppelgangers as well is so difficult to deal with. Alex is just pumping out damage right now. Kaya has to go back for a little bit of reinforcement. Beetle sends out the strangling prison. 3 squishies caught within. A duplicity exchange to get out of there for the Loki, and only Isidore is going to be the one to fall. But now Kaya has to try and stand on this cart alone, and the healing's not there. Naga's getting up close and personal. Tanuki is absolutely railing through this, and that's going to be Team Heretics with quite the time bank on Yggdrasil path.
Statement has been made by Team Heretics that domination, we could give you that win. Or we're going to take it back in stride immediately afterwards on Yggdrasil path. Groot walking forward, Naga on the Mantis enabling them with so much damage. Tanuki flying high and above as a Phoenix unleashed against the competition as well. And Oasis is just being Jeff in the back line, and then also in front of them, the streams of water are just drowning the competition of Shikigami, and they have not been able to put a hand up and get some air since the start of that attacking side from Team Heretics.
Like, how do you even deal with Oasis on these angles? Like, he's so fast. He has
Daredevil
all of the
is
bubbles
the counter
to speed himself out. Yeah, maybe Daredevil is the answer. Like, Frost Mountain at the moment, hovering over on the Wolverine, but of course we're in attacker spawn, so it's not really so much of an issue at the moment. Team Heretics setting up for their defense seem happy to stick with this, apart from Enzo on a far more stationary Vanguard to stand on the cart.
It's not necessarily just Oasis, too. I mean, seeing the flexibility of Alex cannot be understated. The positioning of the Loki clones, perfect regeneration domains that, mind you, because they do have the one-sided Mantis with the team up, are able to damage boost you when you use them, and that's been a big difference maker for them. And also Groot having his own healing wall that he can put up at a moment's notice if he needs to stay alive. And these positionings from Beetle, I talked about how, you know, Isidore was the one to watch for Vampel, he's the one to watch for Groot.
It's a little bit silly goofy. It's a little silly goofy. A quick exchange away. Alex doesn't actually manage to make it too far. Maybe didn't have the doppelganger set up. He is going to get resurrected, of course, by the battle recall beacon. But Frost Mountain's already at 100 range.
Great setup, and Werewolf to know that they're going to be sticking with this Wolverine and have that beacon available to them. But Leolas relatively silent on the defending side, so they really need to pop off here.
Tanuki needs to teleport away, but great focused fire from Shikigami gets rid of Tanuki. And now without their singular duelist, the poke from Team Heretics is incredibly weak. And this gives a lot of room for Kaya to move forward, emboldened by the missing Phoenix. No longer having a fire type that they're weak to, they're happy to just roll on through here as a grass type juggernaut.
I love this mirror of the group play. They saw how well it worked for Heretics on the attacking side. They're like, okay, I can do you one more, but also have the Wolverine, and everyone is sectioned off.
All right, moving through this corridor. Incredibly difficult to do. Kai's making sure that anyone who presents himself is taking so much damage. And we can see the damage just here from a Fate of Both Worlds in tandem. Grabbed out of the sky is Tanuki. A nice play from Frost Mountain. So accurate with the feral leaps. And as the door opens, the remainder of Team Heretics just have to roll on through and get themselves stalled out on the cart.
Beautiful combination between Kaya using the group walls to section off the players of Heretics from their heals, and Leolis can finish them off. And that's exactly what we needed to see last time. There wasn't the synergy between the combos of these players and Shikigami on defense. Now they have found their rhythm, but will it be enough?
Another fastball and another pickup. Oh, the last stand. Enzo's already gone. Frost Mountain is erupting on the Wolverine right now.
This is what needed to happen for Shikigami to flip the script, and kind of an issue we've seen with other teams on the defensive halves of these convoy maps, where the snowball continues forward, or the fastball at this rate from Isidore the Frostbound for another kidnap.
How did he manage to get that one? Unbelievable stuff. Beetle was already gone. What a cheeky flight from Frost Mountain. This guy's getting air miles in this map.
Nuki trying to match at this point too, so we'll see if he can come out, but the Eternal Bond goes through.
Okay, that's a lot of healing, a lot of staying power. Could be answered here by Isidore, who's already become the World Breaker. Already purpled out, though. Was very worried about that Wolverine. Just tries to get back to the team. Gives over a bunch of healing. And that's going to be ultimates available now for Lindstrom, Kaya, Leolaz. Everything you could possibly want Shikigami have in the bank. But what can Team Heretics do to try and slow this one down? Yet another fastball going for the group. The Ironwood Wall is brought on up, but that means Naga slips through the cracks while you're worried about keeping your vanguards up and alive. In towards the back. Multiple players dragged in. A nice block off as well. Unbelievable wall play coming through from Kaya. Your Eternal Bond has been denied. Somebody get the door, because this boy's slamming it in the face of a Cloak and Dagger.
Leolis serving them tea on the way out as well, with a dish served as hot and piping as it can be. Unfortunately for Team Heretics, they are getting burns from it, and they'll have to take their time to recover from their injuries in the furthest respawn room after the second checkpoint has been activated. Shikigami unleashed again. The Shiki slingshot is real.
Right now they're Shika gaming, you know, not just Shikigami.
Oh, really need to see a change around, though, for Team Heretics on this one. We've seen so many swaps from their side. Tanuki now on the Daredevil. Naga actually using the Phoenix and the freeze onto Oasis.
Oh, that's one way to try and shut him down. Leolas has the Glatrox ready to go. Doesn't want to throw it into a group wall, though. So Leolas, for now, is just being a little bit more trepidatious. Creeping forward slowly. The Ensong Inferno ready to go. Answered by the Luna. The fate of both worlds. Well, Matt Murdock's fate's been decided at the end of a gun. Unfortunately, the bullets are strong. And Leolas is the strongest right now. Looking absolutely hot to trot.
Heretics have just not been used to facing this kind of pressure, and I feel like it is just due in part to giving Leolis the Elsa of 2 maps in a row. If this continues, that could be another case of Shikigami taking it because they just have too much damage to deal with.
Wake up, babe. New Banhammer about to drop. Enzo's already put it on down, but Tanuki's fallen on the other side to try and deal with this one. There was a last stand. Frost Mountain stole someone away. Yeah, Leolas is being aim checked, but his aim is just fine, love. I've checked it out myself. Enzo falls down. Lindstrom on the other side. That's both of the strategists having fallen. Team Heretics have taken the legs out from under Shikigami's push off the back of a fantastic dive. And now Naga's uncontested on the angle. Can easily rain down fire from above. Still, Alex is forced to use the fate of both worlds, which is a little bit much considering the advantage they had.
I don't know if I necessarily agree with using it there. Might have just been better to go back into the respawn. You had the advantage, and it was a bit of a miscue and miscomm from their side of things. So one less resource available to them in this next team fight, and so much time still available to Shikigami. Here comes the struggling person, though.
Okay, just onto Enzo. They want one, but are they going to get it? There's even more follow-up coming through. So much percentage damage onto these vanguards. The dive, though, an attempt to try and turn this one around. A piece of the abyss into the Glatrox. There's a temporary stun onto Beetle, but it's shut down by the felling of the Elsa. Team Heretics are finally deciding the momentum here.
Nuki realizing that if they have the vision, they have the way forward to victory against the Shikigami roster, forcing a swap for Kaya to go for a potential portal play that they have to protect with their lives and try and get behind them fast enough, and it does get off in time, and again, we'll see a re-engage from Heretics, but they are split from the objective.
Just dodging the dive blockade for now. Naboo temporarily freed by the Gungans. What a grab there onto Beetle. Frost Mountain is an absolute freak on the sticks. There's no other way to put it. The Ice Arts have been used here by Lindstrom. They're going to be a little bit more vulnerable to the dive now, so they're going to be lacking that self-healing. And indeed, Team Heretics seem to have figured that one out. Trying to chase Tanuki off the high ground. Lindstrom channels dances for their life, but can't still paused in main as Naga's found himself a nice pretty angle on the high ground. Moves in towards the backline core, blows through them. Leolas can't survive it. And the Van Hammer's put on top by Team Heretics. While Isidore has big dreams of taking down this backline off the back of a big clap, it does mean the remainder of Team Heretics are going to be lacking in that overall healing that's available. Still, the peel is there as Tanuki lets out the devil and does the chip damage to all who stand within the aura. Aura farming indeed on the cart, but Kaya still needs to be dealt with. Leolas chases down Naga. It's a messy fight to be sure, but a little plushie on the ground is going to give a momentary protection to Team Heretics.
Layla's realized that there was a KO feed that they could look at and see that somebody was dealing damage above them. They couldn't do anything against it, but now there comes the big eat. We'll see how it goes.
Enzo falls down. Who's inside of a Jeff is the question right now. Frost Mountain still has been given the indestructible. Oh my goodness, the fastball. He's so quick with it, bro. There's nothing Matthew Murdoch could do. We might be blind, but he still managed to make eye contact with the eye of Agamotto, standing by themselves. Alex on the point, invincible temporarily, but the DPS check has been met. The Mythic Raid has been finished. The drops are going to be there, but the time bank isn't. Shikigami desperately need to try and finish this one quickly because they're losing second after second. Team Heretics have such a healthy time bank to try and make this one work. It's a finish, but it's slower.
It seemed like there was an ant in the way of the cart holding on the world for Team Heretics at the end, time and time again, where it should have gotten the last meterage to force us to this overtime state. Unfortunately, they could not get it, so much time was wasted. Shikigami, yes, they get there at the end of it, but the resources are not going to be as available and bountiful as they are for Team Heretics in terms of the time bank. This is an exact hold that Team Heretics were hoping for. They couldn't get the whole mileage and stop it before the doom that they might face, but this is a good advantage that they have going into this OT.
Dude, watching Frost Mountain on the Wolverine, I understand the ban. I get it.
Yeah, I respect it.
I get it, bro. I'm seeing the vision. I'm looking through 14,605 time streams, and in 14,604 time streams, Frost Mountain hits that leap.
30 seconds before you attack.
3 minutes to 1. Heretics, all odds in their favor. But we said that going into the series that business as usual from point one is how it should have been, and it's been anything but. They were eventually able to tighten things up, have a full team swap, and found the comp to victory. But will it be enough time for Shikigami to push the issue towards the last hour against Team Heretics and go up 2-0? They have to give it their all.
All right. Will Team Heretics be prepared for the fastball this time? Remember that they caught out Alex to begin with last time around and then claimed Tanuki thereafter. Seems like a nice disparate positioning here from Team Heretics. Does mean they don't lose anyone early.
Good to keep the team up as long as you can here specifically, but there are some resources being used. Regeneration domain does go down, but there's a good KO onto Enzo.
Oh, that's a great pickup early. Oasis still on this annoying little off angle. And Shikigami are deciding whether or not they want to actually just commit to try to take him out. Unfortunately, Nami, the decision was made a little bit too late for them. And it seems like Kai just can't get himself out of here. Just keeps walling himself in because the Devil's Chain pulls back the group again and again.
Not on the 7.5 update just yet, so you don't have that tenacity. Unfortunately, you still have to deal with the current state of affairs, and well, eventually Shikigami will able to get that team fight win and force Heretics a little bit off of their rocker, but they do have time to bounce back and stop this before that first checkpoint.
Rare approach is noted. Isidore on top of it. Naga takes the peek, looking for Lindstrom. It would be a huge pickup. Kai is such a big target. Lindstrom might be a live one, but it seems that Naga's aim is just as strong. Someone needs to get onto the cart right now. Between all of these punchy heroes, it's got to be one of the bigger ones. The Bad Hammer ready to go. It's on top of the Elsa to try and shut down Leolas, and Enzo's gotten rid of the primary threats here from Shikigami. Going to be difficult to roll on back now as Frost Mountain can't grab anything off the back of that feral leap. Shikigami are held halfway through first.
It feels inevitable at this point that Heretics should take it. But something in me says not to doubt Shikigami again. Last time we saw them take down Red. In map 1, we saw them come back with a reverse sweep of the sub-maps. And now it is their time to try and hold as long as possible. They got to worry about the compositions that are coming out, and especially what Tanuki is hovering. The Psylocke is unleashed.
Just a little bit of backline pressure from Tanuki, trying to force Shikigami to look in different directions again. It really feels like Team Heretics are at their best when they're in this 3-3 split. And there's that constant, like, where's Oasis? Where's Oasis? Where's Tanuki? Where's Enzo? That taxes those comms and makes it more difficult to fight plan for Shikigami.
Back with the Billy Clubs, but no, potentially releasing the Chi available to them. Similar to what we saw Tarek swapping to a couple of times here, trying to deal just enough damage to likely the triple that they were hoping to face off against, and we'll see if it's enough. Again, could be some quick swaps coming out of Heretics. They have the time on their side is the big thing here.
Yeah, so much time to work with. 3 minutes and 5 seconds, and it did not take them long to claim first last time. It was a rather quick offense for both teams, actually, but it would appear that Team Heretics fixed up their defense for second time around.
Also fixed up Enzo, sticking with the Vanguard pool even after the resets. They'll see how they can do it, especially Tanuki now on it. This Wolverine trying to go with their own feral leaps.
All right, Enzo already claiming a bunch of space. Nice wall dodging there from Kaya to avoid getting cramped out by Tanuki, but Leolaz falling low. You can see the soft dive coming through. Kaya, unable to really exit that far. Need to worry about the ways that Jeff really messes with your mobility with those right clicks.
Good dive in by Kaya, specifically on the back line, getting out immediately, not wanting to take too much damage. We know as soon as someone goes down, it's going to be a difficult task to fulfill.
All right, the attempted shutdown of a dive. Frost Mountain in a 3 versus 1 can't make it happen because Kaya was busy elsewhere after getting debuffed by the Deadpool, and now Naga will turn upon Kaya themselves, who was crawling over on the cart to try and keep it stalled. A momentary touch comes through from the Hulk, but down into puny banner form. Leolaz has already had to start channeling the pentagram of Farala to open a portal, a potential gateway to salvation for Shikigami. It opens just in time, but now they're down on their Elsa. Looks like it's going to be an easy win out in the Wolverine mirror here for Tanuki, going back to his roots, going back to where it all began for BRB Patapim. Enzo slashes through with dual katanas, and it seems like he's claimed the daimyo ship of Yggdrasil Path. Team Heretics, tie us up.
It's part of the reason why you do not want to see Enzo with the Vanguard pool available, but also the winning formula that eventually Team Heretics was able to find was Tanuki with the Billy Clubs and Oasis with the Jeff, just flanking around and dealing damage. And for some reason, nobody ever looking up when Naga had the vision on the Phoenix. And I think that tunnel vision is what did Shikigami in on this map specifically. Point 1, they struggled against it. Point 3, that's part of the reason why they were taking so long to activate that overtime face down again, or face off against Team Heretics. And unfortunately, it was too little too late of time for them to come out on top. So a good hold by Team Heretics, a little shaky some way through on the defensive end, but they were able to clutch it up.
I mean, one of the most telling stats here for me is actually the damage taken by Oasis. Only 7.1, which is not that much for a multi-round Yggdrasil Path. Just always in these very annoying positions. Like the positions we're just a little bit too far for us to go and deal with. It wastes so much time when you have to consider how do we deal with this Jeff. And very able to just elongate these dives as well, because guess what? Tanuki can stay in just a while longer because of a healing coming through from that joyful stream.
First loss that Shikigami have faced when they did have the Elsa available to them in the playoffs. I think that some of that has to be attributed to having Frostbound play at the start and then having Leolus be the one on Ultron to boost it. Maybe need to work on some different compositions and different players to pick up the Ultron mantle instead, because Leolus seemed to be the one with the pristine accuracy, but Tanuki and Naga with the swaps that really made the difference here for Team Heretics. And then also Beetle initially on the group was just some amazing play that we saw from them. I do have to say though, Kaya on the attacking side of their own, using their group play and setting up Leolus so that they can finish off the team without having to worry about the heals was beautiful.
Yeah, I'm wondering if we continue to see Leolaz get access to that Elsa now. Interestingly, it felt like Team Heretics, they were at their strongest when they actually dropped the Mantis. Like, their Mantis play, don't get me wrong, very impressive. Naga still is that guy while aiming, but the real answer against Shikigami, it seemed, was going for this duelist setup where Naga could play those off angles, as you were talking about, on the Phoenix.
The 1v1 against an Elsa typically is a struggle, and that's what we saw happen when they were on defense all the way up to that 3rd point. So now they seem to have figured out the magic that makes Shikigami strong. We'll see if that can continue into our next map. It's tied 1-1. We'll see who takes the advantage after this.
The hunt is on. 1,000 gods! is on. 1,000 gods!
Well, Heretics eventually found their path to victory. Our series is tied 1-1 in our first semi-final, but we don't get to highlight Jeff players too much, Vaudable, but we gotta talk about Oasis. A flanking Jeff winning the game. What makes Oasis better than any other Jeff player out there?
I think a big thing here specifically that can't be understated is the speed that Jeff has to escape whenever anyone's chasing them down, aside from Daredevil, of course, because they do have that bring in effect for their belly clubs when you attack with them. One of the best counters to it, but also the map knowledge that we see for Oasis, knows the exact routes to go to flank around and see, gets the comms from their team, and I think that coordination with their team is crucial for a really good Jeff player. A lot of Jeff players in rank, they don't really talk too much, they just kind of do their thing and then hope it works out well enough. Whereas Oasis, you know that they're coordinating dives with their team, and typically how the dive plays work is like whoever sees the moment at the time, coordinates it and says 3, 2, 1, goes in. And we've seen Oasis kind of leading that charge a couple of times, especially whenever they've had team ups available to them, using those to distract and just peel away some of the attention to the rest of their team. So beautiful play from Oasis, I gotta say.
Yeah, and I feel like we all underestimate how good Jeff is in the anti-dive from how like fast this guy is, to the right clicks being also a very good deterrent to anyone coming his way. And Oasis, I mean, finding these off angles, but leg day, Heretics had to do like wholesale swaps to try and stabilize on their defense, and Time Banks winning it in the end. How did Heretics kind of save themselves?
I think moving away from the Mantis it's rarely a good choice, but it's definitely a good choice when you're going up against a Wolverine, right? Because the Triple Strategist was not lending any additional survivability to the Vanguards, because like they were going down just off the back of displacement and the percentile damage that was coming through from both a Wolverine and an Elsa. And when you're dealing with that much anti-Vanguard pressure, what you need to do is you need to, like, we've all been here, all three of us are Vanguard mains. If they're playing Wolverine Elsa, it's down to my duelist to win this, because I'm kind of just playing for my life right now. And that's what you have to do. You have to swap over to the Phoenix so you can start exploiting the off angles that get opened when all of their duelists are focused in on bullying your Vanguards.
Yeah, you have uncaged Naga, and now he's on the duelist, so you better watch out. But you better watch out for Shikigami's map pick, Vaudable, Central Park.
Yep.
The thing that shook everything up when they won this against Na'Vi early on.
This is one of their comforts. They've gone to it twice, once that they've picked, once that someone else has, and they won it both times. So they are most comfortable and most confident on this map. But the big thing is that teams have so much footage against this comp in the past. They just had to remember how to play against it. Na'Vi themselves even look better when Peps tried to pull out the flyer composition against them. And I think the big thing that comes through this is we haven't seen Heretics once let Shikigami have that Mantis, and we probably won't here, which really enables the composition they like to play on Central Park.
Yeah, and like day, I mean, from the Torch to the Angela, that is really strong, really niche on Central Park. I mean, especially on defense. Vaudable isn't sure if they can get away with it again. What do you think? I guess we're about to find out, so tell me about it.
Well, if there was anyone who'd be happy to pull out the Human Torch, in North America it would be Speedily, and here in EMEA it would be Frost Mountain, who's always down to pick up a flyer. 1-1 between Team Heretics and Shikigami, and Frost Mountain's already hovering the storm because we know bro loves to fly.
Some sort of composition. We've seen Frost Mountain actually do pretty decent on the Storm with the damage boost and also the extra speed to try and move on to the objective a little bit faster here as well. So could see something like that come out, but I'd be surprised if it does go through. Of course, the double gambit bans because, again, Heretics always thinking, hey, we can still shut them down, and what enables the Elsa as long as we focus on that. So very likely see a Mantis ban of some sorts, but could change it up here. They're taking a little bit of time, but there it goes, the Old Faithful.
Yeah, we'll see if it's once again Protect on the Mantis, or if we are going to see a pivot over towards an Elsa-based composition. Team Heretics taking a little bit longer to think about it this time after realizing that, hey, if Shikigami are going to play this anti-Vanguard style, I think maybe you go with the Mantis just because you've already shown that you know how to deal with the anti-Vanguard style with things that are not usually banned, like the Daredevil Phoenix or the Phoenix Wolverine. So you keep this option open, and Team Heretics like, we don't need the Elsa, it's chill.
Yeah, I mean, this is back to what we've seen happen every time so far, right? We've seen the Mantis be saved by one side, the Elsa be saved by the other, and some version of Loki getting banned here. But the focus for Heretics this time is saying, hey, you're not going to have that Wolverine. There's not going to be a fastball special in your future.
Yeah, we do not want to deal with that one anymore, say Team Heretics. We're gonna make sure that our Vanguards feel a sense of safety. This is their safe space, their little bubble. You shall not pull them from it. I would love to see this ban on the Oasis Jeff. This is one of the best Jeff maps in the game, and Oasis is just too much to deal with, man. Like, Oasis is by no means a Jeff one trick, you know, but the tax on the comms from having that Jeff slinking around in your backline is never to be underestimated.
I'm really curious if they do go for the Invisible Woman here instead of the Loki, because they know one or the other is going to get banned if it doesn't get protected at this rate. So one-sided Invis or one-sided Loki, what do they want to play? Last time the Loki didn't work out as well as they were hoping it to, so I respect the Invis, especially if they expect more of a dive composition from Heretics. I mean, Enzo potentially on that Venom, but he'll likely still play some of the Vanguard pool that looks so good towards the end of that last map.
Okay, one-sided Loki here. There is a world where perhaps we just see the Cloaky come out again.
That's a really good point, and it's worked really well in the past, and especially once you get past this first objective on to the next one. And well, we see some Cloak and Dagger hovered for Shikigami specifically. Name looked really strong on it, but not having the early usage of it from the copy is going to be a difficult task for Shikigami here. And we saw how well the Cloak and Dagger and Loki worked in previous maps for Central Park specifically. So having that one-sided, Heretics in my mind might have won out on the ban draft here.
Could be everything. Oasis and Alex already showing the Cloaky. Naga might play this more reserved tertiary strategist to try and play for the full hold here off the back of a resurrection, or even a pair of karmic revivals if Alex is feeling particularly spicy.
This was banned out last map as well. They knew that this was a possibility, especially because Naga has flexed to the Adam Warlock multiple times before. So this being the matchup for Team Heretics, I think the Flyers, they're just hoping to get in and get out, deal with Heretics and kind of that brawl comp heavy style that we saw before, and maybe it'll be enough. But there's the Ultron coming out from Leolis. The damage needs to come through, but Tanuki on this off angle, we'll see how they engage.
Okay, the Shikigami Classic here, and Tanuki is already sitting in the aim trainer, looking at this Air Force and wondering, how do we deal with this crunch? Looks like Team Heretics might try to go for a more proactive play here, where they just crunch on the 3 members who are more ground-born before the Air Force can really get into position. But you can see that aggression here coming through from Kaya has claimed away that space.
Great positioning, the split push from these two. They're taking their time. They know that they don't have to over-engage, because as soon as one pick comes out against them, that's going to lead to their demise on this objective.
All right, nothing gained off the first Assassin's Charge here coming through from Isidore, but there is time to try and play with. Leolas has got a great angle here over onto Beetle, and Frost Mountain just forced to hide in the wreckage for now while the Ultron drone heals them up. A little bit of peel actually came through there off the back of the Assassin's Charge. Nice hot drop coming through. Naga forced to use the Soul Bond. They're sharing out the damage, but Frost Mountain's doing plenty of it. Another big stab coming through from Isidore, and Leolas is there with the follow through afterwards. And now you've got to move through these flame clusters, this uninhabitable zone if you want to try and contest the point. Frost Mountain is essentially body blocking as Enzo tries to use the banhammer, likely onto the backline. I think it was onto the Ultron. The walls are carved through. The Ice Art is doing its job, and Shikigami almost have a capture here, but they need to remove Beetle, who is currently CC immune and so is not vulnerable to the Assassin's Charge. Isidore gets a little top up. Alex is playing very cautiously right now, does not want to peek into this as Oasis moves forward with the with so much healing. What accuracy from Naga, and with Frost Mountain down, this one's curtains for Shikigami.
The hit was scanned, and that's exactly what we see here from Naga with the burst damage against Shikigami. Unfortunately, they could not escape their demise at that point in time. Got 2 ticks out of the 3, but now have to go back to the drawing board just a little bit, seeing if they can get at least 1 pick before fully engaging. And right now, unfortunately, they can't get rid of the group because they do have the Ironwood wall up.
Oh, nice weaving around the Guardian's shield. Nane can't be saved, but Lindstrom plays for himself. Still the super maneuver in the back is complicating matters for Team Heretics. They're not going to go for the copied revival, instead playing for the Eternal Bond. And Kai says, okay, I can't really play this one. I'm just going to back out for now. They might have to leave Frost Mountain to his fate. Indeed, there's no healing that can be given over around the bound body of Ratatoskia.
Karmic Revival online, Galactic Legend as well. Shikigami's worst nightmare, as they only have the 1 ultimate. Potential for Heaven's Retribution to create some space for them, but they might need to walk with the Luna Snow ultimate onto the point. Fate of Both Worlds is going to come online pretty soon.
Down to a minute and a half already. The Banhammer has gone out onto a backline of 4-step regeneration domain in response. Hot drop from Frost Mountain doesn't grab too much, but Beetle was dutifully staying on the point for now. Moving forward now with the Soul Bond, giving over all of the damage to be spread out between all of these players. Tanuki's fallen down, and so Naga instantly needs to go for a resurrection here. Beetle has to cling on to the point with all of their power as a live stream is given out from Naga to make sure there's plenty of healing to go around. Oasis is back, Alex is back, Tanuki's got the angles now, looking down on 3 strategists, but they can't patty cake hard enough. Isidore has to move into cover. Tanuki's not taking enough damage here. There's not really a counter-strike coming through except for the Rage of Ultron. Leolaz lets loose upon it, and Isidore's into the back rooms, but there's no one there to meet them. And Team Heretics once again have control over the point.
Feels like the ult counting might have been off for Shikigami on that play. They knew Tanuki had it available, and there goes the Eternal Bond again. The Heretics just want to fully engage and push them back to the brink of extinction.
Oh, there's so little time to play with as well. Frost Mountain, absolute maximum range there to try and survive. But Tanuki's camping the health pack. Oh, sees the approach. Knows exactly where the Human Torch wants to play from. That's a beautiful clip to start off with. Where's the second one going to be? Manages to get him by the shins, but can someone touch it for Shikigami? Yes, they get Isidore onto a point. Opening up the portals now. A swap over onto the Elsa. A Hail Mary or Hail Elsa, whatever you want to do. Shikigami are going to try for it. Debarking into the invisible boundary. Regeneration domains used here for Team Heretics. Speed waits patiently with the strangling prison in hand. Alex ready to try and follow up, as well as Nagas has to use a cocoon revival upon themselves. An extrication onto a point, courtesy of the Eternal Bond. There's healing and sundry for Team Heretics here, as it's the impact that manages to take down Lindstrom, and the impact rocks Shikigami to their very core as Team Heretics hold on first.
The worst case scenario for a counter pick convergence map, not even getting the full first point capture. We need a full hold here from Shikigami, which they've been able to do in the past, but that was against a tilted Na'Vi roster. And Heretics, they know how to stay cool, calm, and collected. When I talked to their coach, Lime Pro, earlier this week, he literally said any issues that arise between this team, they talk it out immediately and have no egos. And that's so important to have when you're going into these pressure scenarios and knowing that everything is on the line, and especially your winners finals playoff spot are on the line for this series.
This, for Team Heretics now, is remarkably doable. But Shikigami, they took all of our attention. We really started to pay attention to this team and notice them when they held Na'Vi on first on this map. Not precisely with this comp, but with something similar.
It just feels like the Cloak and Dagger Loki was an oversight from the Shikigami team that they did not expect to come out, and they were the ones who introduced it into the fold of this series. And then Heretics realized, like, oh, yoink, I can use that myself. I might not be Black Cat, but I'm still going to play their abilities just in the game itself.
All right, breaking down the bridges, giving over no free high ground. Kaya wants to meet them on terra firma.
Really need Isidore to pop off. I've seen them be relatively ineffective for their team and ineffective in these moments, but it's a huge engagement.
That's an unbelievable assassin charge to start it all off. It seems like Tanuki's going to be able to, or rather Naga's going to be able to get out of dodge. Tanuki's actually playing on the Psylocke for now.
Really just a slowing of the pace for Shikigami here on defense. They don't want to over-engage and push the issue all the way back to the spawn room. They know that they can give some room to Team Heretics and have to respect Beetle here on the Groot. High and away is the play, and they don't want to overextend for one pick to come out too in their favor now.
Yep, Beetle once again taken down a little bit early. Has trouble setting up those... Oh, that was a nasty shot from Frost Mountain. Sheesh!
Okay, you know, just going to silence our thoughts on how this composition might not work against Team Heretics and are going for the full hold strategy, and it could happen right before our very eyes, but the pace is being set by Beetle, creating space, even though they aren't able to deal with the high flying away composition of Shikigami. They do need some more aim from Team Heretics, and I'm kind of curious on why they've brought out the Mantis here.
Dude, Isidore is just catching so much poke up in the sky. Right now, all of Team Heretics are that Willem Dafoe gif of just staring at the sky fearfully. Frost Mountain going to try and chase these players out. I believe someone's been isolated. That's the Mantis over there. Naga, yes, has been moved on over to just try and give over a little bit more oomph, I suppose, to the singular duelist of Tanuki.
No percentage has been taken by Heretics. They seem so dominant on defense before, but that goes to show why Central Park is so defensively sided. They just don't have an answer at this moment. The kidnaps are not doing them any favors.
Enzo drawn in, instantly hit with the vulnerable, and that's going to be the regeneration domain used as well. Alex has already popped their god of mischief, though. They've stolen away the Eternal Bond, decides not to go too deep into the play here, and instead it's going to have to be the peel coming through from the invisible boundary. It's going to just about last as long as is needed, and Beetle was drawn inside there, likely off the back of an assassin's charge. Nothing gained for Team Heretics in terms of their percentage on point, as a minute and a half remains.
Can't afford to give up so many resources and not get anything for it. Tanuki on the hard flank has the Galactic Legend. This needs to be the stabilizer for their team.
All right, Tanuki with an angle here onto Lindstrom. Unable to connect everything, though. In comes Heaven's Retribution, who's caught within. It seems like for now, everyone's been able to get out unscathed from the side of Team Heretics. So they use the Soul Resurgence in towards the back. The extra speed is being put to good use. Tanuki needs to try and find an angle here to make something work with the Galactic Legend. But already, Oasis taking so much damage. Looking towards the back, Kaya's taken down Alex, who wasn't ready with the Regeneration Domain. Beetle can't quite escape from the corner that they've been placed into here. And Kaya just has to stand dutifully on the point and stop it from accruing percentage. Oasis falling low. Kaya needs to heal. They're walled in by the Groot, and the Rage of Ultron has arrived just in time. Another nice stab from Isidore, who is looking absolutely sublime on the Angela.
Beautiful performances across the board from Shikigami. From the Vanguard line, staying on the objective, Kaya swapping it to the Magneto. Leolis is the aimer in charge for their team, has the sight lines, then Frostmountain is able to capitalize with the extra damage boost that's given to them, and the speed. Also the focusing that we've seen, Name on the Cloak and Dagger, able to use their Terror Capes blind the competition, and they just have not been able to look up fast enough to deal with what's coming to them.
Supernova activated. Where can Alex go? A nice duplicitous exchange here. Wants to get onto Oasis here. Is hiding behind the rocks. There's nowhere to go. The Dark Teleportation momentarily gives them a reprieve. And Frost Mountain doesn't manage to get the hot drop. It's taken down by Naga. This could be a critical change. Oh, the interrupt on Via through ultimates. Isidore's an absolute madman. It's a manic stab. The Assassin's charge has punched a dagger into the heart of Team Heretics' offensive push here. As overtime starts to tick on down, Tanuki wants to open the portal, but Shikigami have done it. They have drawn up the drawbridge. They have held the castle, and Team Heretics find themselves scuppered on Central Park.
I am flabbergasted that this is the way things go down, but goes to show that finally a team has figured out a counter map pick that is their domain to play in, and you do not want to face Shikigami in their own lair. That Central Park has been claimed by them. Frost Mountain, Kaya, Isidore, Name, Leolis, Lindstrom, everyone doing what was necessary for the victory. Yes, they didn't do as well on attack, but they just got far enough percentage, and didn't give up anything to their opponents in Team Heretics. This is the most dominant performance we have seen from them on the defensive side of any map so far against Team Heretics. And Team Heretics, they gotta go back to the basics, back to elementary school at this point, and relearn how to play against this composition that Shikigami are pulling out.
Well, the question is like, what do you do against it? I don't know how to counter it. Like, when Isidore's playing like this, he's just that guy right now. Managing to shut down Beetle's ultimate as well. Beetle got nothing done on the Groot. Like, it's so difficult to shut down a Groot of Beetle's caliber, especially with the Ironwood wall. It's not the ideal matchup for an Angela, but shutting down that Strangling Prison was actually possibly the play of the playoffs.
Yeah, that Strangling Prison was the lifeline here for Team Heretics. There's multiple of them, and it just felt like Team Heretics were fish out of water. They tried desperately to use their ultimates in tandem and coordinate the dives properly, but they had to look every different direction, and because of that split focus, they could not focus enough on one individual person at a time, and that's why Isidore and Kaya didn't go down a single time.
I'm flabbergasted. What a performance from Shikigami, now on match point against Team Heretics, a team that before this series had not lost a map. They were 13-0, now 14-2. I don't know what Tetra saw in the tea leaves when he first predicted Shikigami, but evidently the tea leaves were good.
I don't think he could have seen this far into the future. There's maybe one possibility, but Shikigami is the team to do it. One step away from glory into the winners final. We'll see if they can make it after this.
Watch out, they're headed our way! Don't mess with the amazing Spider-Man! That is all. 1,000 gods!
Shikigami are on match point against the favorites of Marvel Rivals EMEA, the ones that we all had in our bracket to go to the end. Shikigami, I don't know, they're just the Kingslayers at this point. But leg day, we knew what was gonna be on the menu when it came to Shikigami's composition. They picked this map for a reason. The same Ultron, Torch, Angela situation on defense, and the better defense wins at the end.
Yeah, like the defense was just absolutely fantastic. It's exactly what you saw against Na'Vi, as we picked up on earlier. Like, there was tape on this. Although there was tape with a slight difference. Shikigami previously had the Mantis, which they were using to buff up their Human Torch a touch more. But I don't think the changeover really affected them that much. Name was playing a really good game on the Cloak and Dagger. But being able to defend with Isidore just having the perfect timings on this Angela changes so much. Like, Beazle and Enzo were constantly taking fights that they either had no chance of winning because they were like isolated with like a shield being brought up behind them from Kaya with a metallic curtain, or it just forced out so many resources early that Alex really needs to try and survive the onslaught from those who are flying over the top anyway.
Yeah, Isidore was just a Vanguard bully, and just the matchup is so good for his Angela into a Groot or just any Vanguard. You're forcing cooldowns, body blocking Beetle off the map like Isidore was making big plays. But I know, Vaudable, you're a big fan of Kaya. He's always making big plays as well.
Oh yeah, I mean, last time they focused a little bit more on the Vanguard pool on the defensive end. This time it was the Magneto, and I feel like the bubbles really helped them stay alive, especially Frost Mountain, who did have more KOs against them compared to last time that they used this composition. But I think because so much pressure was focused around Frost Mountain, it allowed the rest of the team to really showcase their skills. So I love the performance from them on this map specifically. And also, it can't be understated that the one-sided Invisible Woman might have been the win condition here for Shikigami, because you don't have to worry about the grounding effects from her like little bubble that she has, and also the force physics that can really disrupt the Angela play.
Interesting. We get to see another domination map leg day. This is Heretics' last chance, can't believe I'm saying this, to stay in the series. Finally, their armor cracks and they want to go to Celestial Husk, and we all know how chaotic domination can be as a game mode.
Yeah, chaotic domination seems to be where Team Heretics are at their best. Honestly, if I'm Shikigami, I keep banning this Jeff. Like, I think that the Jeff ban was, like, we're talking about how the one-sided invis was super important for the lack of grounding effect, but the Jeff is also super important because he can ground people on his right-click as well. And domination is one of the areas where Jeff is most dangerous when it comes to the It's Jeff. There are plenty of environmental hazards you can be thrown into. I feel like Team Heretics, they managed to find themselves an answer off the back of this Cloaky on Hell's Heaven as well, so maybe we see a return towards that.
Yeah, and Audible, we know that domination, this is where the triple strategists thrive, as Leg Day said. Heretics are one of the best, and they sometimes go back to the 2-2-2 when push comes to shove, but do Heretics have what it takes? How worried are you on a scale of 1 to 10 about Heretics right now?
I'm not too worried. Specifically, I think the big thing here is just making sure that they nail down a composition against Shikigami. The flexibility that they've shown has been great, but when teams push their buttons, essentially, in the ban draft, they tend to fall apart later on, and we saw that happen in the first round a little bit when the Jeff was banned against Team Vision initially, and then they just realized, oh, if we don't ban the Jeff first and we do it later, then we can still ban what matters, which is that Gambit, right? We get rid of the Gambit initially, and then we don't allow Team Heretics to be unleashed because of that. And I think this is a big difference between that series necessarily into this one.
Yeah, I mean, like they, Shikigami have put so much thought into their pick bans and also have like become Super Saiyan in playoffs. This is a level of Shikigami we have just never seen before.
Like, teams keep giving the Elsa as well. We didn't really see it that much on Central Park because I think the Elsa there was actually a bait to try and avoid like getting their flyer composition banned out in terms of their protects. But like, if they're allowed the Elsa again here on Domination, it made a bunch of difference over on Hell's Heaven when combined with that Daredevil. They can't have both the Daredevil and the Elsa again. Like, I refuse to allow it. I need to matrix into the bans right now. So there's no way that this gets through again.
Yeah, we'll see if it does get through. Heretics are on their last lives, or they're taking a trip to the lower bracket, and Shikigami go to the winners final. Or we could go to game 5. Let's find out, guys.
All right. Map number 4. 2-1 to Shikigami. And as the words leave my mouth, I am struck with disbelief, Bob.
I am as well. It's interesting that we went to this map. I think it's mainly because Shikigami doesn't have footage on Heretics here specifically. Celestial Husk has been played for them so far, and we have seen it once for Shikigami, and they actually ended up winning that. So an interesting pick here. Specifically, they could opt for more of a flyer cop. We saw it from Peps trying to do that against Na'Vi in the group stage and worked with middling results, but there's a couple of different options that they can go for here. I think Kaya specifically, maybe using the Vanguard pool like we've seen in the past, but Layla's, shout out to Lemon for this info, really showcased some good looks on the Namor.
Okay, guess who's getting Elsa again? It's Shikigami. And Team Heretics, still firm believers in the Mantis, and who am I to disparage Naga's sublime aim, but it seems like thus far, the best looks we've seen from Team Heretics when they don't have the Mantis.
Yeah, it might be a crutch for this team at this rate, is relying so much on the Mantis to enable your team. And when you don't have as much damage that you're able to dish out, it's been a bit of a struggle. But getting rid of the invisible boundaries and the invisible woman here with the force physics does bode well for both teams.
Okay, question is, do you protect the Loki here? Try and force out the Cloak and Dagger ban last. I wouldn't mind seeing Team Heretics go for a Jeff protect last either, given that that's currently going to be available to them.
We saw a lot of good looks from Jeff, specifically from other teams on this map, so wouldn't be too surprised if that is a priority of theirs, but there's a couple of different options that they can go for as well. Maybe even the Daredevil if they expect that ban to come through, because we've seen Tanuki be unleashed with that before.
Okay. That's going to be probably a Jeff ban that's now opened up, unless I want to mirror the Cloak and Dagger ban, but no. You cannot allow Oasis to go wild on the Jeff, but this does mean that Elsa Daredevil is available. Admittedly, the Daredevil is a great anti-Jeff measure, so maybe you're not as worried about it if you've got the healing that Alex can pump out. Yeah, you can see Naga's already making a maneuver here, thinking, you know what, I think we might see a Daredevil. I'm going to go on the White Fox to try and meet him.
Yeah, I respect that a lot, especially depending on which sub-map we start with as well, right? There's, you know, certain bunkers that you can hide in. If it's more of one of the open sub-maps, then maybe you don't play it as much because there's different ways to deal with them. So we'll see which one we get here first and foremost. And, well, I'd say this one's pretty good for the Daredevil.
For now, though, as we hang out in spawn, we'll figure out where we're going to crystallize our compositions. In theory, I quite like Team Heretics draft here. Like, I like that Oasis presents enough of a threat on the Jeff that it does become a must ban. I do think it's a valuable ban for Shikigami, but the fact that Oasis is that good on Jeff is why it's necessary. You wouldn't usually have to pull out this ban against other teams.
I like this change up with Oasis, though, being on the Mantis, which allows Naga, who's been able to, you know, frag out as much as they can, to be on that White Fox and counteract the fastball special we see from the other side. Lindstrom kind of playing in their face a little bit, playing some Jeff as well. Okay.
Okay. Just speeding them out with the bubbles. Lindstrom is going to be sticking to that Luna to allow for that long-range poke, as well as great burst healing onto a player like Isidore, who's going to need quite a bit of babysitting because Hulk absolutely tanks damage.
Celestial Hand's pretty good depending on the composition for these teams. Tanuki more focusing on just the hit scan ability and seeing if they can just snipe out the hits from this Feral Leap, but can't get anything just yet.
Oh, those regeneration domains with the Vibrant team up from the Mantis just gave up so much damage boost to Tanuki, instantly burning Frost Mountain's passive, and the second life, not quite so long. Tanuki now rolling forward, has a great angle onto this group. Should be able to carve through the Vanguards with little trouble, as they are going to just be receiving all of the care in the world from Oasis.
Well, it seems like a pause has been called, so we will be getting back to our faces for a sec. But right after that first team fight, Team Heretics looked pretty solid for the most part, I will say. I mean, we saw the coordination from them. It seems Shikigami didn't quite have the best strategy in terms of engagement. And after seeing, Naga being on that White Fox, Tanuki having the off angles and able to get the high ground, I think the positioning from Heretics with their hit scan is something that the team of Shikigami struggled against so much. We saw on Yggdrasil Path, and having this second floor that they can position themselves from is going to be a great focal point to rally behind here on Celestial Hand.
Yep, don't worry, we'll grab you guys the info as to why the match is paused as soon as it is viable. But for Team Heretics, they're already showing off all that Tanuki can do when it comes to these hit scans. I think that Phoenix, it's not necessarily new to Tanuki's hero pool, but it's a good prime addition. He could flex onto it before, and it wasn't like a throw, but he wasn't like a legendary Phoenix player. Definitely showing off some amazing accuracy so far today, and is making sure that Frost Mountain does not feel comfortable with these engagements now, even with having connected that fastball special onto Enzo. During the airtime, Frost Mountain had already lost the passive, and that meant that Enzo was fairly safe and sound. And the follow-up that came through from the regeneration domain that Alex had, courtesy of the Mantis team-up, which is another thing that Mantis brings to the table that we don't see quite as often as the raw damage boost, is the team-up. That just meant that the punishment onto Frost Mountain was so severe.
Unfortunately, didn't have a direct flight to their destination. It seemed that there was a bit of a layover in the air and some turbulence that they experienced as they tried to touch down for their team. So we'll see if maybe some more fastballs come out in better fashion from Shikigami, but I'm really more interested on this retake. You see, or at least we can kind of see on our end, that there will be a fastball coming out at some point. Really crucial on who they're focusing on. Is it going to be trying to deal with Tanuki so that they aren't in the way of their advance, or is it going to be more that backline, focusing it towards Alex specifically, or even Oasis, who's been enabling Tanuki with this extra damage? And I think having Tanuki on this hit scan with the Phoenix and that extra damage is a lot better than some of the different positions we've seen from them, depending on which duelist comes out. I mean, we saw some of the Star-Lord play, but the Star-Lord, I feel like, has potential on this map, especially Celestial Hand. You can flank around pretty well and use those Galactic Legends, but Tanuki feels a little bit more comfortable here as we get back into it.
Well, don't worry, you don't have to look at our faces for much longer. We're going to go right back into the game here, where Shikigami, their composition is going to kind of force them to be front to back mostly, as Leolas doesn't have the greatest range on that Elsa. Indestructible Guard given over now by Isidore on this brand new siege forward, and Frost Mountain's already catching a bunch of aggro, unable to get too much off the back of their feral leap. But look at this, Enzo is incredibly deep towards the back, a double charm from Naga. The value is real from the White Fox right now as Kaya's gone down. The rest of the backline was distracted by the engagement of the tank Vanguard pool.
Once again, Team Heretics, after the disruption of the pause, able to rally together and prove that they have a grasp of the situation and Celestial Husk itself in their hands, no puns intended. Shikigami just haven't been able to find a route in. They've had such long sight lines and corridors to try and engage on the objective, and even the fastballs aren't really creating the space that they would hope they would, and they really need to find some entry frag to actually get a purchase on this objective.
Frost Mountain is just getting exploded in the hand of Isidore for now. Actually misses the jump, gets a quick exile there. Now can start to wrap around the back. You can see already some point percentage has been accrued. Name moves forward. The Glartrox has been used, but I don't think it's really recovered anyone right here. And Name's trying to give over a little bit more. Beetle with the Strangling Prisoner. I don't see if anyone's really stuck within it. There's another one on top. Was that Alex on the group? Okay, maybe not the copy you wanted, but hey, the God of Mischief could get a little bit of whimsy inside them. Naga's going to throw forth even more here as the Kumiho is unleashed. It's a bloody messy fight here for Team Heretics as they've invested all 6 of their ultimates, and Frost Mountain's going to have the last note in this song as the last stand is ready to go, heads towards the backline. A few people in towards it. It's a pass over to Isidore. To me, to you, shouts the Wolverine as Enzo opens up a portal. The Pentagram of Ferala opens and debarking directly into the buffing up effect of the regeneration domain here. Means that Shikigami still have a lot more to go in this point. Yep, Kaya looks for an opening here with the Eye of Agamotto. It needs to be used before Team Heretics can get another set of ultimates done. In towards the back, one player stunned. Gonna be Alex, can't quite bring up the damage in time. Regeneration domain's not there, but Frost Mountain still slicing and dicing his way through.
Great work by the Shikigami roster. Use their ultimates and now have the Fate of both worlds available to them and using the damage boost specifically so that they can finish these fights. Even though they don't have the Mantis, they still have the overwhelming power and offensive capabilities of Leyless here to do the work necessary to at least get some opening percentage. But a lot was wasted resource-wise on this team fight, and Team Heretics with Enzo have a couple of engagements that they can go for. Frost Mountain, a great stagger on Oasis.
Yeah, that was so needed as well, because there's so little time that Shikigami have on the clock. Only 20% so far.
That's not the best position they want to find themselves in, unfortunately, especially because they still have some time for Name to get their ultimate again. They do have the regular Eternal Bond, or excuse me, Fate of Both Worlds available for Lindstrom. Isidore can have the Monster Hulk unleashed in mere moments, but Tanuki and Sung Inferno, that might be the engagement option.
Look at Ross mounting over the Flake here from the Luna as well. Any healing going over onto the Vanguards is going to be shared with that Wolverine, who's certainly going to be taking a lot of damage over in the front line. You can see Enzo creeping, has dreams of a big eye of Agamotto, but oh, he's already been shut down. 3 players inside the Glassrocks. We're feasting tonight. It's a high-protein meal for the Apex Predator as Leyless reigns above them all and has managed to find that short range. Oh, it's Stagger City, baby.
And this just goes to show you can never count out Shikigami, even with
No!
Team Heretics having so much time at the start. They are getting the ultimate stagger, but they're also getting a bit distracted, and they're getting back-capped, and they can't afford to give the point up just for free.
All right, can't afford to give it up for free, yes, but Beetle not being here does mean that they don't really have the meat to try and make this one work. Hello, Alex already gone for the God of Mischief copy here. Oasis and Tanuki have both been stunned on out. Out comes the Eye of Agamotto. It's Alex and Enzo. Can they be shut down in time? Alex didn't even get time to use their own soul resurgence. Unbelievable. The fate of both worlds now to be decided as the Kumiho begins stomping on through, and the hedge against the Daredevil has not worked out against Shikigami here, as the Worldbreaker Hulk is such a menace in the backline. The return of Beetle means the return of the ultimate, but nothing was there to really follow up upon it. Beetle simply hoped they could do it all by themselves, heart cowering with their plushie. Enzo's hoping that the night will pass and that the monsters found under the bed will be taken away, but the monsters are here and the monsters are real and they look like Shikigami. Oasis has taken off the point and Team Heretics find themselves reverse swept on the control point.
They could have touched there at the last moment if they dove in, but for some reason were too hesitant. The aura of Kaya was too much to overcome on the Doctor Strange, and they'd rather just rally back on this next objective. A mental reset is what is needed, a refresh of the memory banks and a full reset for this next capture point. Unfortunately for them, it's a rough spot on their side, but Shikigami doing everything. Whenever it seems like you are counting them out, you can't at that moment in time. Heretics thinking they've already won, saying, oh, you know, we can let you use your ultimates, we'll get back on the objective, fine. The masterful staggers that we saw from Shikigami, I think, are the main reason why we saw them come out on top here specifically, because the strategists were not able to get back with their team and get those ultimates up even faster, and because they walled them off so that they couldn't even escape their doom. It was just such a tough spot for Heretics to find themselves in, and here comes another portal play.
Brand new portal. Brand new Shikigami. It's actually a little bit high, which means that going back through it's not going to be an option. Oh, Frost Mountain. He's grasping at you. He's got the little grabby hands of a child. Come here. Give me that venom.
I'd see the Venom come into play just proactively from Beetle, and usually it's Enzo the one that's playing. It feels like Beetle's lost their identity. We haven't even seen the Captain America a single time so far, as the Soul Resurgence from Name just creating space.
Oh, quick sleep. Sedating Tanuki temporarily. A nice duplicitous exchange to get back to a safer area. Tanuki doesn't even have time to pop the ultimate. The Glassrock's heading towards the back. Multiple players caught with him. There is an attempt to try and shut it down, but Alex is already down as well. Beetle's falling so low. The Monster Piercer just tears through the symbiotic flesh of Eddie Brock. And as they are going to be able to make a frenzied arrival, it's just a last chance saloon. Shikigami get first control.
Heretics fans, heads in their hands right now, wondering where we went wrong, and it seems like Shikigami were just too underestimated. They had the time and preparation of 2 weeks before playoffs and knew what they needed to do to take down this monumental squad who hadn't lost a single map, but 13 was the unlucky number for them, as they've lost 2 so far and potentially the 3rd.
Naga from afar, Cosmic Clusters, plenty of them. We'll be able to get more live streams off the back of these crits as well, as Shikigami have been placed into a corner and giving up a good amount of space on the point. What a flick from Tanuki. Takes down Frost Mountain, and now the remainder of the Vanguards on Team Heretics can get a little bit more aggressive. You can see a quick sedation onto Isidore. Unbreakable Guard used, but so fast is the follow-up that Isidore has no chance to try and make this one work. And now all the angles begin to collapse onto Kaya and attempt to try and turn this one around. Going to be difficult to try and TP back, as only just fallen has the Doctor Strange. A pick onto Oasis here from Leolaz, and this might be the opening that's necessary. A last stand directly into the loving arms of Alex. Well answered, and a quick resurrection as well to bring Oasis back. Naga knows that it's now or never as Team Heretics flip the point back.
This is a better composition from Team Heretics, having that res just as a safety button if they need it, but also Alex, the way that they have been using their Fate of Both Worlds has been beautiful. I mean, they caught their team who got last standing, and rightfully so, should have been eliminated, and kept them in the fight the entire time. And this sustain from Team Heretics seems to be the difference maker, at least for now. But Shikigami having their ultimates built up, we'll see how this goes as Soul Resurgence comes through.
Name ready to open up. Actually managed to copy over the Mantis here. Soul Resurgence gives extra movement speed, but Name slowed down in their own right. Overwhelmed by Beetle and Tanuki in tandem. Kai's still in the back, so Alex is going to need a touch of attention. But you know what? It's just going to turn it around upon them. You want to dive me? Nah, I'm going to go dive Frost Mountain, mate.
This is not the position Shikigami want to find themselves in, especially with Enzo just in their backline, dealing damage and taking everyone to task.
Yeah, these Dual Desert Eagles, they just do so much damage, and of course has the Banhammer ready to go. Oh no, another freeze.
That's the second freeze in a row we've seen from Alex. They have been an assassin with them, making sure that anytime they try to dive out, well, they are going to be dining and dashing back to their spawn room, and Oasis is a beautiful pick as well.
Yeah, Oasis has got the good angles here as well to gather the information. They can see multiple players moving through the cave. Shikigami, they have 4 ultimates to try and play with here, but do they have a space to try and use them?
It's a tough spot to think about. Kaya, though, Feast of the Abyss to try and engage with the Banhammer as well.
Banhammer onto the opposing Leolaz. Getting rid of that main duelist is so important. Name's falling low as well. Playing inside of this shield was very impactful for trying to cut off the LOS of the Fate of Both Worlds. But now Kaya's surrounded. The back's getting dove upon. Enzo is right on top of them. Lindstrom's going to fall as well as Tanuki's just an accuracy machine. Soon to lose the passive is Frost Mountain. That healing factor won't last forever, and neither will your Hulk. 99% to Team Heretics. Shikigami aren't even bothering to go for a TP to recontest this one. They know it's all going to come down to map number 3.
That was the swap, the composition that Team Heretics were looking for, and really just goes to show how their flexibility cannot be understated. We saw how well it worked for them, being able to swap to a different comp on the fly that they've practiced ahead of time and knew on Yggdrasil path that this could be their way to victory. And unfortunately for Shikigami, they just lost all composure. There were split pushes, awkward angles that they were trying to move together when you're playing dive heroes, and just odd challenges and choices, I guess you could say, from them trying to re-engage on this objective. All out of sorts because of the freezes that were coming out, the res that they had to worry about, Beetle going in with the dives, the Feast of the Abyss, and then they had to worry about the snipes from Tanuki and Oasis on the other side. It was just a nightmare scenario for Shikigami.
Yeah, like Naga can just put out so much more damage on the Atom as well compared to White Fox. Like, they came out on the White Fox hedging their bet against like a Frost Mountain Daredevil, right? And when they realized that Frost Mountain's not going to be playing with Daredevil in this one, Naga really starts to get the value off that poke, feeling a lot less pressured in the backlines.
Well, portal play comes through. Shikigami looking to engage, and if they can get a big pick, this will be a big win for them to change things in their favor. But the freeze is just going to deny them any access.
Oh, Tanuki's forced to use their ultimate, though. Can they escape through the portal is the question. Seems like they've used their cover well. The rest of Shikigami just going to roll on through towards the point. This has been an equivalent exchange of resources, but it's given Shikigami the chance to earn up towards that God of Mischief. Frost Mountain already a little bit pressured, and Team Heretics have a good position on the point, as well as a nice little bit of safety for Naga to try and play with. Can they grab Leolaz? He's the public enemy number 1. The cellular corrosion finally gets to him as Beetle was damage boosted for that one. Frost Mountain drags players to the back with the last stand, but can't find any frags off the back of it. And now Alex is rolling forward. Oh, there's vengeance in the heart of this strategist. Not a healer, by the way. I'm a strategist, and my strategy is send them all to the graveyard.
Pre-buff, by the way. This is the Season 7 patch for those who are wondering, not 7.5. All the preseason being played on it if we haven't said it enough. But Layla's being that public enemy #1, as you mentioned, they have not had any help to stay up on the playing field here. And Frost Mountain, I love the swap over to the Daredevil, give them a little bit more vision on when Beetle is coming in. Enzo on the flanks and Alex with the off-angle freezes. This needs to be the win condition for Shikigami, and they're going for a back cap.
The Daredevil makes a lot of sense. Now that there's no longer a White Fox to try and deal with, Beetle needs to try and finish off their meal here, trying to hunt down Leolaz. Naga's going to be difficult to get on top of, though. Still using this high ground. You can see that he's been hit with the Daredevil multiple times. In comes for Soulbond, sharing out the damage between 5 players. Maximum effectiveness here for Naga off the back of a utility. As Enzo moves around the back, looking to try and find an angle. Alex is already down. That might have to force out the resurrection. The Karmic Revival used. Both of those strategists are going to return. Still, Team Heretics are in control of the point. Beetle down as well. But Leolaz has finally traded out. When any amount of players for Leolaz is a good trade when you've got the Karmic Revival good to go. Enzo trying to cut down the remainder of the back line, and Lindstrom is going to be able to get away, but not before Kaya has to sacrifice themselves for the safety.
Tough spot to be in for Shikigami because the bands, that's the best that they could have done going into this map. It's just being outplayed at the neutral game by Team Heretics. Naga on this Atom, able to use the reses in tandem as they need. Oasis, so Resurgence, but also the extra damage boost. And even Lindstrom trying to swap to the Jeff just to provide some covering fire and heals from the backline as best as they can, but the Itch Jeff needs to be big for this win.
Lindstrom would love to try and grab the Luna here, forces out the ultimate as Tanuki looks towards Lindstrom, wants to try and shut them down. We need to look towards Shikigami on the point, though. Oasis off the map was unable to save the co-strand. Just Leolaz can't get the healing through in time, though. The debuff from a Feast of Ibis was so much to try and deal with. Kaya's big head bopped there by Tanuki, and it seems that there's no luck for Jeff either. Team Heretics rescue their chances of a 5th map here on the last possible moments. 99-0 seeming like it's going to roll out here. Frost Mountain can't stand up to the accuracy of Naga. No portal is going to be opened, and our series is going to a map #5.
Statement made by Team Heretics on Celestial Husk. Yes, they did technically get reverse swept on the first point, but they were still able to close it out strong. Compositions worked out well, and just goes to show that you can try your best to ban out the comfortable heroes for this team, but Tanuki will pull out the Phoenix. You still are always going to be seeing that Mantis save, but it doesn't need to necessarily be played by Naga. Oasis can do just as fine of a job, and we tie things up going into that map 5.
Dude, Naga dropping 57% accuracy on the Atom is kind of nuts. I'm not gonna lie. That's very impressive. Tanuki, of course, walking away with 12 final hits. The constant damage boost coming from Oasis, definitely contributing heavily to that. Oasis also dropping a massive amount of healing on the Mantis, considering that half of their resources are going to pocketing Tanuki with the damage boost.
That pocket, I think this is the best it's worked out this series for Team Heretics. The previous ones, you could see them getting shut down time and time again. It just felt like the composition wasn't really working as well as it could have for Shikigami, and they found some greatness in the first and parts of the second point, but it was too little too late towards the end of it, where they just didn't have enough sustain. And I feel like they might have spent a little bit too much time on the Hulk and trying to go for the fastball specials to their own demise. And maybe if we saw Magneto to protect Layla's a little bit more and rallied behind them, specifically the Ultron in some cases, would have been a good look as well. But unfortunately for them, they just didn't find the right composition to counter Team Heretics in time. And Team Heretics were the team who found the magical composition to win here.
Yeah, Team Heretics, great adaptation off of that first round, realizing where things went wrong. Also, of course, those long staggers did a lot, probably took an entire fight, maybe a fight and a half, out of the hands of Team Heretics and what could have been the recontest there. So very impressive stuff. But Team Heretics, definitely, they love to get down and dirty on these domination maps. The question is, are they going to be as proficient on our 5th map, which is going to be Shikigami's choice?
Yeah, it can be, Convoy or Convergence at this rate, because we did get the reset. So there's a couple of different options that they could go for. Of course, they can't play any of the ones that they've done so far, so no more Central Park available to them. Even the Hell's Heaven that we saw worked so well before. I mean, maybe Heart of Heaven could be one for them too. We'll have to find out what our final map is going to be in our map 5 of our first semifinal after this.
Watch out, they're headed our way. Don't mess with the amazing Spider-Man!
The hunt is on. 1,000 gods!
What is this, our first game 5 of playoffs, and in a scenario we would have never expected? All the way to round 3, Celestial Husk, the choice of Heretics. Well, they're choosing to also go to game 5. But Vaudable, I feel like all of this wouldn't be possible without Tanuki.
Tanuki MVP, they have had the most damage every single time for their team, and in the lobby we've seen as well. They're usually a dive specialist, Daredevil, and Psylocke we saw before, but they have been unleashed on this ranged duelist of Phoenix, and now seeing them going to Spider Island specifically, especially, you know, on that first hold, Phoenix could do a pretty decent job here as well.
And I mean, leg day, I think Naga did fantastic as usual. We're used to him being the Mantis Lord. Now it's Oasis that has to have that mantle, and more Adam from Naga. That's been fun.
Yeah, being able to pass off the Mantis means that, like, Oasis has got that flexibility, which is great, but also means that, like, Naga being able to move over to the White Fox, and they're anticipating a Daredevil coming their way, or moving over, like, oh, okay, they're going to play this, like, anti-Vanguard kind of Elsa Wolverine lineup again. We decided that the answer to that is going to be more poke, and that's in the form of the Adam. And also, like, we can't save our Vanguards with our strategist ults, so we'll just bring them back afterwards. That's fine.
It's fine. We're just in game 5, guys, of the preseason playoffs with, I don't know, thousands and thousands of dollars on the line. But don't worry, for all the viewers in the chat, this doesn't affect how you're going to do or what's going to happen to you when it comes to the other stages. But game 5 Audible, this is for all the marbles. I don't believe we've seen Shikigami on Spider Islands. So, I mean, everyone's bringing out all the secret strats and all the secret maps for this one.
Yeah, we haven't seen either of these teams, and I feel like this is always the best bet, especially as the stages go along, right? If you don't have footage on them in this professional setting outside of scrims, of course, then they might not know which comps you've been practicing for it. And having this be the counter pick, I feel like it lends really well to the Angelo we saw from Isidore specifically, from that second corridor. And at the start, we've seen, you know, Frankie Boxing is saying you got to play really close and you can go for the initial Assassin's Charge. I mean, I saw you, Lemon, getting some practice in with that too previously. And, you know, there's some great looks we can see with that kind of a hero play on this map specifically.
I mean, this map is so narrow leg day, and my big question is Layla's gonna get the Elsa? Like, that is such a big variable that I think Heretics haven't fully respected out of Shikigami.
Yeah, like Leila's is kind of topping the charts every single time. It's been very interesting to watch. I do wonder if we're going to go down towards like more of its flyer composition as well, because we've seen the protect on the Elsa when Leila's won't even play it. So like with a small amount of spider runs we've seen so far, it's kind of anyone's game when we're thinking like, what's even going to be played here?
I know, right? And this was just a little reminder, guys. This is a rematch. They face each other very last match of the preseason regular matches, and Heretics swept them with the quickness. And now Shikigami, they're reversing the script. It's game 5 to see if Heretics can get back afloat or if Shikigami are gonna pull off the second biggest upset of playoffs. Let's find out.
If you haven't already been blown away, hold on to your hats, gamers. Map number 5, the first one for EMEA, and in a series we didn't particularly expect it, but Shikigami are outstripping all expectations as we head into our final ban phase.
Even if they do end up falling here, I feel like they've put the rest of the competition in EMEA on notice, showcasing that they do their homework, they know what to focus on in terms of bans, but it seems they might be changing things up here. Now they're just going directly with the Gambit. Just took some time to figure out what they want to prioritize in terms of protects. And it's always going to be that Elsa. They've been using that as their focal point for their duelist line specifically, but I'm also curious if we potentially see the Jeff ban or protect, because Jeff also does really well on this map.
Okay. Is it going to be one-sided Mantis again now? Team Heretics have proven that it is valuable. Although it's had a better rate in this series in the hands of Oasis than in Naga, but that's potentially just down to Naga having such a Thanos tier Atom Warlock.
Yeah, I like the flexibility of both these strategists being able to kind of like pick up different heroes if they need to here specifically, and par for the course for the most part in terms of the bans and protects. They do want to keep that one-sided Elsa in their favor. Likely going to be the Invisible Woman bans on both sides again, especially if you do opt for playing that Angela. And there's just so much prioritization towards the best in slot heroes out there that you don't usually see as many focuses on target bans necessarily. So the Loki, of course, is going to get through again. They're likely going to play the Groot, as we've seen in the past. And Groot does it pretty good with creating space, but also defending that cart as you're moving forward.
Ooh. Okay, a Venom instead of a Jeff here. Like, this is another very powerful zone for Jeff. So Shikigami are likely thinking over, do we want to nerf the Jeff with a Symbiotic Shenanigans team up? Okay, they're going to try and lower the tempo here from Team Heretics, but I don't know if the Venom's a hugely valuable ban, to be honest, when Beetle has an even better Captain America in the back pocket, or can just move over to a Vanguard Deadpool.
Ooh, locking in on the Cloak and Dagger potentially here as well. I like having that flexibility to them. Name seemed really good on the Cloak and Dagger there, and more on, the one-sided Loki. They don't want them to have the Cloaky available. It forces that ban and allows them to more rally behind some of their other picks. So Lindstrom back on the Luna Snow, Frost Mountain potentially bringing out what was teased earlier on, but Layla is, of course, going to be rocking that Elsa. So Groot action from Kaya, we saw some good looks, but maybe the one-sided Venom too, just to poke that back line even more so. And I feel like Beetle on that Venom was one of the main reasons why Shikigami could not approach, and they just got PTSD after that last map, so they don't want to have to even worry about it here, even if they do go off against a Beetle Captain America potentially.
Questions whether or not Team Heretics here are going to do what me and my team called Pepsing, which is where you basically hold at the spawn door with 3 strategists healing you, and then the second that you lose the fight, everyone goes to cart, falls, stalls, and then you instantly TP back with a Doctor Strange, try and get 3 fights out of your first point defense here on Spider Islands to really drain the enemy's time bank.
A lot of different options that they can go for, but it seems that Beetle specifically just trying to focus more on grounding in case there are any potential flankers coming out from the Shikigami, so they can't use their movement abilities, and also shutting down Layla if they do try to dash out, and then Tanuki having that long angle.
Okay, playing a little bit more reserved from the looks of it. Beetle's just going to be able to play this 90 degrees with a stone haymaker, continually generating overhealth for themselves. And you can see that those walls will not last for long against the amount of fire that comes out of a this kind of backline.
I do like this patience game that we're seeing from Heretics, not allowing Shikigami to build up their ultimates this fast. Frost Mountain, though, swapping on over into the Storm for the damage boost, and could be the difference maker between them on this push as well.
More walls erected, but moving as one. When you're playing around that storm inside the aura, it does mean you're also sharing out these sparks, and Tanuki's able to blow player after player all the way up.
That's a good pick from Oasis on the Isidore. Continuing just to hold things down and progress as best as they can towards the spawn room. Eventually, Kaya does have to at least try to resist, but Tanuki's not giving them any time of day.
Frost Mountain just wraps around the back. Remember, it does have access to the speed boost aura as well. But, like, playing this tight does mean that Tanuki already has their ultimate.
Help spot the B, and Oasis almost has the Soul Resurgence. Even Alex with the God of Mischief available to them. So a lot of countermeasures available for Team Heretics in this next team fight. And they kind of give Shikigami almost the cart for free.
All right, Isidore falling low does demand the Ice Arts in terms of protection here from the Lunar Snow, and forcing out the Regeneration Domain does mean that's one less tool that Team Heretics have to try and play with. Yeah, see, Charge already used, and now Enzo moving forward with the Soul Bond behind them and the Sonic Seduction. You need to look towards the back. Two players grabbed into all of the damage by the group. The Strangling Prison gets Tanuki as the primary victim, but they're instantly going to be brought back here. Naga on one side with the Karmic Revival, and Alex still has the God of Mischief if they want to go for a second raise in the midst of all of this. Frost Mountain ready to answer. The Omega Hurricane burns through at least Oasis, but not much more than that, as the first resurrection is burned, but the second waits in the wings. Oh no, Isidore can't even get inside of the Fate of Both Worlds. There was an attempt to try and just skid it towards the group, and here we go. Alex going to be joining them. Life and death seem to be very impermanent concepts to Team Heretics.
Yeah, I was waiting for that final redemption arc to come in from Team Heretics again, as we see them sticking with the Adam Warlock, the Resurrections coming through, the Revivals, too powerful for Shikigami to burst past. And I felt like the Omega Hurricane was wasted a little too early, only got one pick, and not focusing as much on that zone of revival that we see from the Adam Warlock. And already Enzo, I'm loving this kind of anti-dive comp that we're seeing from Heretics. Having the Diamond Form available, can go for the Carbon Crush if necessary, but not when it happens like this.
Oh, Enzo already falling low, and Beetle needs to be healed up desperately as well. It's going to make Team Heretics' front line a little bit more fragile, as it's only the thing who doesn't really have much in the way of mitigation. The Monster Piercer just gets through them so quickly, and there's still an Apex Predator to try and play with. If you see everyone put their backs towards that cliff, Enzo's going to open up a portal in the midst of all of this. That's going to be a little bit of peel, a little bit of shielding that's going to be active for Team Heretics as they move towards the final space. Beetle needs to be careful about the enemies that they're going to be facing off against here, as still it is going to be a deep play from Beetle, mostly blocked off, but inside of a Regeneration Domain, Tanuki can't find too much off the back of their ultimate. Oasis forced to send in even more. Alex taken down by the Glatrox, and while Oasis is going to bring everyone forward off the back of a Soul Resurgence, the damage might already be done. Naga doing his best to escape. Frost Mountain's right on top of him, and when the mountain crumbles upon you, you better well bloody gonna feel it. The remainder of Team Heretics desperately scramble for the car. In comes the Eye of Agamotto. The only stuns onto Kaya, though, and cannot do any headshots to try and turn it around. A last chance saloon from Alex, popping the Regeneration Domain, and Team Heretics are swept from first.
Frost Mountain having the Snowflake and diving in directly with Kaya seems to be the answer against this composition from Team Heretics. That's exactly why Beetle is swapping in it to the Magneto. Able to bubble their backline and at least keep them up is going to be a huge difference maker for Team Heretics in this next fight. Shikigami seem to have their wits about them and know where to position the backline and have some peel, which they were severely lacking in the previous comp that they went out with.
Frost Mountain already been forced to use their reflection, so they won't be able to go too aggressive here. But you know what? Kai will be aggressing for you. Say farewell to the Regeneration Domain. Say farewell to Enzo, Oasis, Tanuki, and all others as well. Frost Mountain's well on top of it, and Team Heretics find themselves wiped out cleanly.
Oh, the Naga Revival canceled out immediately during the cast. Massive death unleashed by Frost Mountain, but the rest of their team also working properly. But here comes Team Heretics, and here comes Jeff. They're halfway to their ultimate, and they're looking for a big eat on the horizon.
Classic Oasis Jeff Not going to have that copy of the Karmic Revival either. Leolaz looking towards this backline now. Does have access to the Apex Predator if they're going to use it. And this is the Captain America from Beast I was talking about earlier. Naga going to be giving out some of these damage boosts. Looking towards the back, making sure that there's plenty of damage being sent towards them. The Dysons have been rebuffed. And Issidor's really fallen away. That means the Shikigami don't have the meat to try and sustain this push.
I love this change in composition. The Fox Marbles working out well from Alex, just to curve into the carnage of the oncoming enemies, and they can use their charm when necessary just to disrupt some of the abilities. Frost Mountain, though, swapping, interestingly, to the Wolverine to try and deal with Beetle and Enzo as they dive into their backline, and Kaya having to find maybe a different answer for their team here.
Dodging the charm. Beetle might be disengaging, but is still full HP this entire time. The pocket is looking strong. There has been a little bit of a drawback towards the cart. I believe that Kaya's over there demanding some attention. Symbolic Resilience temporarily reforms the health bar, and now it's time for Name to charge on forward, utilizing the Eternal Bond. The damage might be overwhelming. Tanuki down to 1. Lindstrom wants to chase, but knows that they can't catch up to the Daredevil. Out comes the Apex Predator, but those who are within are enervated by the Freedom Charge. Tanuki not quite so lucky, and now Shikigami gather around the dance floor. It's time for a party to decide the fate of both worlds and the fate of this point as well. Terror Cape after Terror Cape rack the nerves of Team Heretics, and Issidor's getting angry now. Burns through Naga. Jeff's up next. Isidore is a monster when it comes to the mechanics on the Hulk. Who can possibly move over towards the point to keep this one contested? Tanuki gets his nerves racked by the Dark Force released from Cloak, and Shikigami cap.
What we might have missed here at mere moments was that Beetle had the masterful back cap. The back Captain America is basically what you could call him, because he was there behind enemy lines, ready to take them to that overtime scenario before they could easily get that second checkpoint, wasting those precious seconds, and now making it that much more difficult for them to complete their capture of the third objective.
Big grab onto Enzo. How's the escape going to be, though? Tanuki in the back line gets exiled after letting the devil out. Isidore says, you're going to have to put the devil back in, mate. I'm done with that one for now. A quick fastball onto Enzo. Isidore and Frost Mountain, they're just so practiced with these. And when the Frost Mountain keeps falling on you, call that one an avalanche.
Pain is the name of the game for Team Heretics backline, and they cannot escape it with any remedy that they try to pull out. The Jeff enough with the healing streams of water, and Naga just needs to stay alive to keep their team in this. So the Soul Resurgence, unfortunately, was a little too late if they tried to use it, so they had to save it for the next fight. But 20 seconds, not much time remaining, and again, another back cap.
Card towards the back, remaining annoying. Has the Frenzied Arrival ready to go. Looking towards Alex now. The Corrosive Tentacles make their mark. The slow is given over. Looking for a quick fastball here, but look at where Team Heretics have been drawn into. A big bait for the Glatrox. Takes down Oasis. This time they turned upon the Shark and tried to slay him. Can they burn through the healing of the Mantis? No, the regeneration domain is exactly the right time. And Lyncham could do nothing, but look at the pretty lady while they get bonked upside the head by the belly clubs of Tanuki. During overtime, Team Heretics find all that they want and a touch more on top of that. A momentary bit of resilience from Kaya will instantly be wiped out, disintegrated under the burning eyes of Team Heretics. Overtime starts to tickle away. Frost Mountain can't do it by himself. Lindstrom was actually shielded away, so the healing couldn't be delivered to the wayward use of the Wolverine. And now Enzo in the diamond form is master of all that he perceives. 100 charge Leolaz around the back. Hello. Maybe there's something still left in this fight. Alex under threat. Leolaz going to be beamed on down, being held in cover, held as a hostage by Enzo. All those who were caught on the cart by Oasis going to be trafficked away. Inside of all of this, there's still the eating of the Hulk. Beetle moving towards the back. Lindstrom could be overwhelmed. The portal's opened up as Kaya brings back Shikigami, but the cart's not moving. The mission area refuses to budge. Name's been taken down. There's no more healing available. And while Isidore may go down a warrior, it's a beautiful death, but not one that will be witnessed in the history books.
Delaying the inevitable is what it felt like their leg day. The strategists from Heretics had the high ground in positioning. They were able to use their Loki clones to bob and weave and dodge the haymakers that were coming out from both the Doctor Strange and the Hulk. And unfortunately, so much focus being given to Beetle, specifically being that gnat in the ear of the other team, as Captain Americas tend to be, just had to demand so much focus from them that they could not deal with them. And Beetle could do it every single day if they need to, and you can see why they've been saving this Captain America play, knowing that they're not going to be banning it out because they haven't played it every single map until now.
This has been an absolute pleasure to behold. What a match so far. No matter which of these teams moves forward to our winners finals, they are going to be an absolute handful, whether in the upper or lower bracket.
One last chance for Shikigami specifically. They need to go for a full hold here and hope that they don't go the distance and force the issue. They didn't get to that final checkpoint, so there's no chance for an overtime potential play for this team. Frost Mountain going with the tech that worked so well in Central Park, but much different map that they have to face off against, and a different hero pool from Heretics that they're pulling out.
And no Angela to force these fights. Instead, Isidore, more keen to get stuck in because there's currently a mission area in motion. You need to get that constant tap on the point to stall out and buy time for Frost Mountain to find the frags.
Speaking of frags, Naga now the one that's picking up the mantle of the Phoenix instead of Tanuki, who has the claws unleashed and the jetpack available if they get a kidnap, but missed it with the barrel leap, unfortunately there.
Isidore just doing his best to kite away. Right now, Isidore's job is just be annoying and survive. Stop the car in its place. Give Kaya a moment to try and survive this one. A well-placed mag cannon keeps them at bay. And Naga at the moment is just holding Frost Mountain hostage. Yeah, the drip healing is coming through from the imperative patch, but the drip damage is a lot of more of a heavy downpour.
Feels like Frost Mountain on this torch is just being decimated in terms of positioning. They can't escape their doom, and Enzo just showing that, hey, I have 2 Desert Eagles with your name on it.
And the second that Ultron goes down, Frost Mountain has to abandon that angle. Can't stay on it any longer. Oh, it's also been taken off the map by Tanuki. At least they've both fallen down, courtesy of Kai using a fully charged mag cannon to make sure that there's no survival available. The Meteor M, it's a little bit of a niche play here, but what can Kai do with it? Oh, the mid-air, it would have been so sick, but you ain't LeBron, so I'm afraid. Instead, it's going to be a long-range throw coming through from Beetle to try and shut down Lindstrom, and indeed, stuck inside of the ultimate, there's nothing to be done. Isidore can float above it, all plays for a quick heal off the back of the health pack. However, Naga just has an unenviable angle right here, just doing so much damage. Out comes the fate of both worlds. Shikigami can temporarily stabilize. Can they chase down Naga is the question. Getting stuck in, getting inside of that eternal bomb. Out comes Tanuki's ultimate, dragging multiple players outside of the AoE that was supplied by the Lunar Snow. And while Elas had big dreams for the Rage of Ultron, they're sent to anger management by Team Heretics, saying, calm down, love. We're playing for the vibes.
Because of the high position that these flyers have to play, they actually subvertedly were giving them the checkpoint at the end there. Unfortunately, we're not able to touch it at that last moment and prevent even more time dwindling from the clock, and the bank of Team Heretics building up even more so as time continues. Shikigami kind of struggled towards the end, and I feel like the times that were wasted with the back caps that came out from Team Heretics might be their demise towards the end of this.
These walls, they complicate matters right now. And Kai's taking a bunch of damage, needs to be healed up. Oh, Lindstrom off the map there. Tanuki absolutely sublime with the Wolverine. And it seems that Nami's also fallen through the Eternal Bond. The Team Heretics met the DPS check.
Great damage coming out from them specifically. I like the change-ups here. Potential stagger as well, and that's exactly what we see on Takaya. Shikigami just throwing everything in the kitchen sink at this cart, and nothing is stopping its reign of terror towards the next checkpoint. They need to change things up, and I feel like there's a little too much of a crutch on this Isidore, Hulk, and Frost Mountain Wolverine play that hasn't really been working out too well for them.
We'll see how you feel about that after this fastball. Heading in towards the back line. Multiple players stand up by the right click of the Phoenix. Lindstrom just doing their best to make sure Frost Mountain doesn't have to lose this one. Oh, so many players are caught inside of the big ultimate from the Groot. And that means that there's one less player to try and contest this cart. Lindstrom's already down. Leolaz, too. The end game boss of Elsa Bloodstone has been confined to the graveyard. And so Team Heretics will get to third with 4 minutes
not having the Invisible Woman available just to disrupt Tanuki is a tough spot to be in. You could use the White Fox potentially with the charms just to stop them as they are going for their own captures of your back line and any of the sustain that you have, but unfortunately they just haven't found the moment or the best options from that to swap into. So sticking it out with the current composition is Shikigami, and they have a couple ultimates to boot, but they need them to pop off big.
Fear the World Breaker, or should I say Pred Breaker for Isidore. Yet another fastball ready to go as Enzo opens up here with the Sonic Seduction. They managed to grab Leolaz. Kaya above it all. What can they grab? They managed to grab Beetle. That's a good start here for Shikigami, but they've still invested so much, and they need to deal with Naga and Oasis. If many players are purpled off the back of this one, it could be so dangerous. Tanuki getting up closer first, though. Just carves through Name as slow as they come, and yet another ultimate is ready to go. The last stand, potentially, it could displace the Monster Hulk, but Enzo, oh, they knocked their head on the side. That looked a little bit nasty. Oasis is juggled. The Pred Breaker Hulk has returned from Isidore, and they're shielded out by the magnetic curtain of Kaya. Beetle stuck in, manages to get the regeneration of the main as Frost Mountain is forced to disengage towards the back. The last stand seems to have dragged in multiple vanguards from Shikigami as Isidore's down into puny banner mode. Starts blasting away with the banner blast, and the banner blast seems to be more than enough as Leolaz is on the chase, and a touch of stability is gained for Shikigami.
Still so much time remaining in the bank for Team Heretics, but that was a beautiful hold from Shikigami, initialized by taking Beetles down. But look at the ultimates available to them. They do have the God of Mischief available, and they're going to engage with that first and foremost.
Eternal Bond. It's going to be a bunch of healing. Is the damage going to be good enough to try and get through this one? Kaya can't be saved despite Name's movement forward inside of the strangling prison. The damage can't break on through. Tanuki's taken down by their counterpart. Might call that one a wolf diff there. Enzo's falling low. Frost Mountain has to escape away. And inside of these regeneration, the main Team Heretics has freedom to try and make something work. Kaya purpled, vulnerable, courtesy of the Cloak and Dagger. Frost Mountain taken down here by Alex. The doppelgangers are banging up on the Wolverine. He's just a little fellow and he needs a little bit of help. Lindstrom is 14% away now from the ultimate. Desperately needs to keep the remainder of the team alive, but Kai's not going to be one of the recipients. It's going to be Isidore who has to move now onto a point. An Apex Predator good to go. Can you get it past the walls? Two players to grab within. That's going to be a finish onto Alex. Can we get anything more than that? Lindstrom has made it just in time with the fate of both worlds. There's still a minute and a half to play with. Does Oasis actually want to invest in this one? Yes, they're going to send in everything to try and make it work here and now, but Beetle's already down. Naga flings out bolt after bolt. The Phoenix Force wants to make itself known here as Tanuki with a massive play gets rid of Kaya, gets rid of Leolaz. Isidore going to be the last one remaining here on the card. Turn around from Frost Mountain. 4 players stunned. There are no final blows to be seen. A cosmic fastball to throw them forward, and Team Heretics, despite it all, grit their teeth and bring it to the end. 3-2.
No upset station has been arrived. The ticket has been canceled, and you will be sending it your way and spending your time fighting it out in the lower bracket. Alex, the MVP, Loki enabled and unleashed every single map. Nobody able to take this away from them, and the way that the strategists were able to support their team cannot be understated on the squad. But Team Heretics, you gotta say, this was a Wolverine difference. Tanuki with the last stands, able to take them off the objective, but also using the team up with Naga, having just the regeneration every time that they tried to go in, and the health steal as well. Beautiful performance from them specifically. I love the Enzo change at the end too, into the thing. Use the clobbering time just to enable their team to finally get some picks on that last hold for Shikigami. Shikigami gave it their all. They gave it the good old college try, and we're the first team ever to take 2 maps against Heretics, but unfortunately they should have gone for the head.
Bro, I spat all over my monitor during that last fight. That was so intense. Let's bring Jen in here while I clean this up.
Oh, come on. Yeah, you clean up while Heretics clean up the mess that was this series. But I mean, this was winnable by either side. That came down to the final minute where that was easily winnable by Shikigami. But Vaudable, you're absolutely right about this Wolverine and Frost Mountain doing it all. But at the end, it was Tanuki and Naga, the duelist, the deadly duo on Heretics, that carried through in the end.
It just felt like the Primal Flame, having that available to you was a difference maker between, Tanuki's, Wolverine, and Frost Mountain specifically here, and having that extra sustainability in those team fights and able to stay up was a massive difference maker. Unfortunately for Shikigami, they fell back on their laurels. They didn't change their composition towards the end because they thought it was working, and in some parts it was, but unfortunately it just was not enough to take out one of the best teams in EMEA. And after this war of attrition between these two teams, they've really proved that they are one of the best of the best.
I mean, I feel like Leos deserves a lot more respect from everybody, especially Heretics. The guy keeps being allowed to play Elsa. He dropped 40,000 damage, 16 final hits, and that could have been what broke the backs of Heretics at the end of the day.
I mean, Leolaz just keeps going to give him this Elsa, and hey, if he can sneak by with the Elsa, bro's just going to run that lobby every single time. But without the Elsa, Team Heretics seem to be doing a fair amount of damage themselves.
Yeah, I'm going to be really excited to hear from Heretics very soon. We're getting that interview, guys, before the match of the day coming up soon. And I feel like I don't think anything can top this match. It's going to be tough because VP and Navi are waiting in the wings, and they're actually warming up, and they're actually stopped warming up to watch this match. And I think everybody needs to stop and re-watch this match if you missed it, because Vaudable, we finally saw Heretics drop their first games of the whole preseason. The competition is caught up.
This makes me worry, though, for other teams. Similar to how we saw, undefeated squads and runs from Virtus Pro, and then as soon as they lost, they leveled up afterwards because they learned what it felt to feel pain and did not want to feel that ever again. And it seems like that might be the case here for Heretics. They've realized, okay, we struggle against these comps. These are the ways to counter it. This is more of like an experimentation in terms of which heroes work best in these scenarios. And you have to be flexible on the fly in this comp. I mean, Tara said in his interview yesterday, perfection is what is needed from every aspect and every player. And if you don't have that, unfortunately, you fall to the lower bracket. And that's what we saw here from Shikigami.
And we thought Phi would be peak Wolverine from the Virtus Pro sides. We got to see some peak Wolverine, and I had a big question mark if Wolverine was gonna be playable this meta, which just how many counters there were.
It turns out the thing you need to make Wolverine viable is 2 leap charges, and when you got someone as good at Hulk as Isidore, you got someone as good at Thing as Enzo. I like that Enzo went over to the Thing for that final fight, thinking, you know what, we're kind of getting Wolverine gapped because they have this constant team up, like a 5-second cooldown on a leap that gives a full berserk state just means Frost Mountain's at 100 rage all the time and able to constantly CC our vanguards. So if I move over there to the Thing and I can also offer the Cosmic Fastball, that works out well for us and we can match that kind of pace. I think that was a great momentary swap from Enzo. I think it might have been when Beetle opened the portal when he made that swap, but we instantly saw that they started rolling out with those fastballs and getting those additional stuns and interrupts.
It was important to maintain a consistent pace throughout the series. Just to recap the score, if anyone is just joining us, Hell's Heaven, that neutral map, 2-1. We went all the way to round 3 for Shikigami. That was when we were like, hold on. The Heretics just lost their first map. Then we went to extra innings on Yggdrasil's path. Big time bank difference in favor of Heretics. A full hold from Shikigami to stop Heretics on Central Park, just like they did to Navi. And the series goes all the way to 5. And we have none other than Oasis from the Heretics side. Jeff Extraordinaire, the strategist that can do it all, joining us for an interview. Oasis, congratulations. Bring me through what you're thinking. This was your first series that has gone this far.
Well, it is quite fun. My team helped a lot. It's a very good team, so it's not too hard. We did choke a little bit to the cheese comp. So eventually we kind of just noticed if they have all these counters, and they just counters us, but we do have the better individual players for the exact same comp. So we just went to comp and it was kind of easy.
My question to you about that specifically, how do you prepare to be so flexible in this meta? We heard from both Virtus Pro and Navi saying that you have to play perfect, you have to be able to change on the fly based on what the other team pulls out, and it felt like Sometimes it worked out really well for the team, and other times it didn't. But eventually, you guys were able to lock in on one comp that you figured out worked so well against this team in Shikigami.
Yeah, I mean, the like big thing is like no one in EU is scrimming each other, and there's also like, so no one really has an idea like what the others are playing. So the entire comp is just so, it's just so wide. You know, you have to grind every character in ranked, and like even this comp specifically, we didn't really expect them to play it. So going against Elsa Wolverine against, you know, our comp, it's kind of a counter. So I mean, I don't know how to explain it, honestly. You just have to be ready. You have to swap everything. You have to think about it. As you can see, it took us 5 maps to realize what to swap to. So you have to really think about it. And especially VOD after a game like this, we're going to VOD this a lot to make sure it doesn't happen again.
Well, while you weren't as sure about the other teams' ISDs because of scrims, you were very sure of your own. In this series, we saw 5 first protects on the Mantis. Why are you guys placing so much emphasis on the Mantis in your current ban phase?
That would leak it, no? I can't really say. I can't really answer that.
We tried.
I could try to steal all the strats from you, you know?
Well,
Why is Mantis good?
What I could say is like we do have, I think, the 2 best Mantis, which is myself, and I think Naga is just the best Mantis in the entire world. By far, it's not even close, honestly. And that's why when people try to copy our comps or like copy the things we do, they just can't really do it because, I mean, simply they don't have the players for it.
So this isn't really like exposing your composition, but this is more inspiration for those who are watching. We saw you be one of the best Jeff players so far, playing a little bit more aggressive. For those that are out there looking to kind of like emulate your performance, what do you feel like you do differently on Jeff than other Jeff players out there?
I mean, I think it's just kind of mechanically better. I think I've played it, I mean, in ranked, like for 3 weeks straight, the first 2 weeks I was running every like rank game down, like every pro was like, they were avoiding me. But eventually I just got better and better. And I just learned like how to like act against different compositions, against different players. And I mean, the big thing is people think you can only replicate it in scrims. And if they think that, they're delusional.
Yeah. I like that you listen to Dory, you know, just keep swimming and you're just going to improve and you're going to get better. And I'm looking forward to seeing those improvements because you're facing the winner of Navi versus Virtus Pro. So give me your quick prediction. Who do you think is going to come out of that series?
I think VP is going to come out of it. I think Navi is struggling a little bit with certain compositions that are very, very important to be good at right now. And I think VP don't have that issue.
Yeah, flexibility is the name of the game, and you showed us just what that's like. So thank you so much, Oasis, for the interview, and congratulations. We'll see you in the upper bracket final.
Thank you. It'll be fun.